deepest, bluest. My hat is like a shark's fin.
I'm still convinced he's saying head.
You're always convinced of head.
Oh!
Roll the theme! Not as you mean to go on. Filth in, filth in, filth.
Get it out of the gutter, will ya?
That is the LL Cool J effect.
Hey!
Cool J effect.
Wait! A third voice!
From yonder? I thought people could finally hear that in a monologue.
Oh no!
Do it, Matt.
Oh, God.
Zip!
Theatre of the mind,
I
children.
really hope there's a weapon in this pants.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
God.
Big Damn Cast number 672.
It's
I am the winter solstice.
I am the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega.
I'm Hump Day.
Charlie's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Charlie, welcome back to the Big Damn Cast.
Thank you.
We
Glad
kept
to
it.
have
We
you.
kept it lukewarm for you.
Yeah.
We kept it tepid for
No,
you.
there's still a nice ass indentation here for
Yeah.
me. Getting nice and comfy.
Which is weird because he doesn't sit like a normal person. He does a handstand.
No, I
in the corner.
perch. Yeah.
He perches.
Welcome back to the
Ready
most
for action.
room temperature podcast on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, can we kick it? Probably.
Yeah,
We
baby.
can certainly try.
Hey!
Give it a good old go.
The old college try.
Oh,
we
God.
are full of meat.
We are.
Which is not a euphemism as far as we're concerned.
I mean,
Take it however you like. That is a euphemism.
stop.
We got back from
You're a bad person.
from a local burger joint, and we are
Right.
absolutely stuffed full of mince. But we are still gonna plough through the mince
Stuffed like a pepper.
to deliver some. Yeah. Ooh.
Mm.
Oh, I'm hungry again now.
Oh, God.
I'm not.
Should we pause? Should we just
go for
should we
lunch?
Go back?
Sod this. We'll just
Let's
leave.
go for
now.
brunch at 9:45 in the evening.
Let's go for a 9:45 brunch.
I think Tim Hortons is still open. It's a drive-through. It'll be all right.
There's a Tim Hortons here?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously? Right, hang on.
This is
I've
the homogenization of the global food eateries.
I've been to Tim Hortons. Pretty fucking great.
Okay, everybody ignore the question I'm about to ask. Where in Greater Manchester is Tim Hortons?
I didn't drive there. I can't remember.
Oh.
It's like
Oh.
the Regency Road area.
Okay. Oh, so it's in central Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We need to get a sponsorship.
Anyway, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted,
By Tim
I've got
Hortons.
an emergency bulletin. An emergency news bulletin. Breaking news
This just in.
from DC Television.
Oh.
Chris, you're going to love this. You're going to love this.
Do I need to take my drink off the table?
Lois Lane and Lex Luthor to lead Metropolis TV series launching in 2019. But wait, there's more! Produced by Gotham's John Stevens and Danny Cannon, it will be set prior to the arrival of Superman. Ordered to direct a series for DC's as yet unnamed digital service with a 13-episode order. Metropolis will investigate the world of fringe science and expose the city's dark and bizarre secrets. This is from Variety, the Hollywood Trade also adds that the show was originally pitched to Fox to act as a companion to Gotham. Both shows follow thematic revisiting of classic DC heroes' origins, as well as being named after a DC fictional city that began with the early 2000s WBCW show Smallville.
So once again, DC and Warner are going, we can't do Superman on television.
No.
Despite having done it several times before.
Yeah.
We can't do Superman on
Despite
television.
actually doing it
in
Supergirl. And it's pretty good.
And it working
like,
really well.
Tyler Hoechlin is actually a pretty cool Superman.
And his chin is a phenomenal performer.
And in those heels, his ass doesn't half pop.
That's true.
Is this because
Oh my God.
they're still in that same kind of not John Waters? What was that producer's name?
John Peters.
John
John
Peters.
Peters. Is in that same John Peters way of like Superman's dumb. People don't like people. Like, get rid of the Superman
Well, no,
part of
because
Superman.
they're-
Let's focus on the city
They're
and the
doing a
people.
fucking Krypton show.
Yeah, like
That's the one I'd heard of, not
Yeah.
Metropolis. Yes,
Like,
this,
they're doing a Krypton
we've
show
got-
of, like, his
which again-
great-grandfather
that was the one I was
Yeah,
aware of.
Adam Strange is in that as well.
my friend Rasmus
Doing
is in
Adam
it.
Strange.
He can't tell me anything about
No,
it.
not like Adam Strange is not a dude we know. Adam Strange is the character.
No,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm saying like,
The
that's
fact
the,
that
that's the
the
only
fact
thing I
that we
know
know
about
someone in
Gotham.
it, yeah.
Is that someone's in it, and all he's told me so far is it's been cool to make.
That
he's
sounds
not-
like
he's not-
someone who hated it.
It was more-
That diplomatic. Oh
it-
no, it's been fun.
It was more a passing answer about to be fair, my question was how have you found it? So his answer was it's been cool.
It just
to make.
came through on Spotlight.
So-
like,
Being
And
cool
ag-
to,
and
but
again-
saying it's been cool to make means that he is aware that it's going to be terrible to watch.
I am not putting words in anyone's mouth.
If-
I am.
if Gotham is any indication, this is gonna fucking suck.
Oh,
So
God.
I thought you'd enjoy that, Christopher. I thought I'd
Do we know
Say that
anything
little
about
tidbit
who
of-
Lex Luthor and Lois Lane are?
I don't believe so.
How old is Lois Lane? That's the question.
Pre-Superman.
Are they going for the Margot Kidder like Superman the movie version where she's clearly a bit older?
She's
like
going
a
to be
few
12.
years older.
She's going to be 12.
Is that what it is?
No, it doesn't say anything about them.
I mean, I can say as someone who avoided Gotham like the plague,
As well, you should have done it. It's fucking awful.
I will continue to do this.
I've watched a single episode of Gotham, and along with a couple of like bits and pieces here and there, and just been like, "This is garbage."
In your
Just
Joker
like
series,
garbage.
I keep being asked.
I know. I
yeah.
remember you playing a clip of because he's not even called
He's
Joker.
Jerome,
It's
yeah.
Jerome.
Mm.
And I thought this 15-second clip that I did see of it, it's like this kid looks creepy. He looks all right. Like it seems
He's having a ball.
It's just the whole kind of premise of it, and like I just can't muster up any interest.
Just
they,
make a
they
fucking
keep,
Batman
they keep
show.
bringing him back. He was in
Like-
one story in series 1 which you could get away with it being like, oh, who's to say if it is the Joker? But it could, like, the way it's done is like, oh, it could be. Okay, fair enough.
Really?
But then they've brought him back every series for either a one-off episode or like a 4-parter. And he's been doing Joker thing. And this is why people keep saying, why are you doing one for him? It's like, because the producers have said he's not the Joker. This is the birth of that thing that will eventually lead to someone
Well,
being
yeah,
like, I'll do that, which takes agency away from the actual Joker.
I saw an
But that's
article.
alright, because all the other villains have been in it.
I saw an
So
article the
stupid.
other day where one of the producers was like, "Yeah, no, the Joker's totally going to be in Gotham because Jerome isn't the Joker, but we're still going to do Joker."
But why?
But like,
Gotham is set, and Bruce is still a child. He's
a
in
teenager
mid-teens
now.
now.
I think
and
he started his training. Or
He
some
started his
shit.
training in Gotham.
Oh, it's still going.
Batman villains who've been in...
Oh, yeah, it's still
I'd
going.
assumed
It's
it's
in, like,
finished.
season
Oh.
People
4.
fucking love that show.
Batman
man.
villains who've been in the show that I know of that have been in the show essentially as their fully formed versions or near enough. Like, they're doing what their adult
They've
selves
just recast
would do.
Scarecrow. Actually,
Yeah, Scarecrow. Why?
I don't know. I didn't read the full article. I just saw the headline.
Okay, well, he was much younger when he first appeared, but his dad was basically doing fear experiments.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Riddler is in it as a crime investigator who becomes a criminal. Penguin's one of the main characters, with a lead performance from Robin Thingy, who's apparently genuinely great to watch.
I have no doubt he is, but that show's still garbage.
Yeah, he's the outsider in the Dishonored series, isn't he?
I don't know. I've not actually played any of this on it.
But he's apparently he's good. Bullock has been with Gordon and Bullock at the start of the show, was a corrupt cop.
Yeah, it's
completely ruining the appeal of Bullock.
Donald Logue, isn't it?
Like, which is, he's not a corrupt, he's a jackass, but he's not corrupt. Like, he's one of the few that you can
He
trust.
looks like a corrupt cop. Like, he doesn't look trustworthy.
I mean, even
but he
Tim
isn't.
Burton's movie, like, they were like, Bart was going to be Bullock. The
Eckhart was gonna be
was going to
Bullock,
be
yeah,
Bullock. And then they went, and someone at DC went, no, Bullock's not a corrupt cop. So they changed the name.
Because that's what I thought the show was going to be. Was it going to be like the
originally,
GPD?
Gotham Central
Yeah.
was what it was pitched as, apparently.
Right,
The Gotham
that-
Central
but,
series. So set during Batman's time. But the
seeing
show,
the aftermath and seeing the effect on the
Yeah.
police,
Yeah.
their perspective on why he isn't seen as the kind of knight in shining armor like that. I
Yeah.
thought would be interesting.
yeah, like it's sort of like there's the book it was based on originally, set during his time.
Yeah,
And it's a great
CSI
idea.
Gotham, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would be into that.
And you dip into, and that would be a great excuse to have Batman pop up in it occasionally. And
I guess the problem is you get everyone going. Well, not everyone, but you get a lot of the fanboys going. I want see Batman every episode.
Well,
Why isn't Batman
yeah.
all the time?
That's what makes the villains' appearances unique. Because
Right.
like Joker appears in one story in volume 2, like the Joker's in one, and he's in. They have to look after him essentially during the thing. He's just sat in the police station, like, okay, like you got me, and I'm going to take some stuff. And it's like, imagine that being like your mid-season finale is a 2-part story with the Joker in it.
Like
That'd be amazing.
Like the police station stuff from The Dark Knight without Batman.
Yeah,
That was
and like the
really fucking
effect
cool.
that this
There's a
escalation
Two-Face
has on
story.
regular people.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that would be interesting. To
And
me.
there are certain villains you could totally do without any problem. Like, you're not going to be doing your Killer Crocs, but you can do like Two-Face, you can do Catwoman storylines. But in Gotham, Catwoman, Selena Kyle's a teenager.
Yeah, she's the same age as Bruce.
She's basically Catwoman anyway, like in terms of like the amount scale of the crime she's doing, the fact they know each other. There was a girl called Ivy Pepper in Series 1 who
They're not very imaginative with these names.
who retroactively they've
You didn't
now
need
called
to put with these names on the end of that sentence. Like,
yeah. Retroactively they've now called her Pamela Isley, and through some chemical stuff she's increased in age. So Poison Ivy's in the show, and she's in like her mid to late 20s now, even though she was 10 when we first met her.
Sure.
So they can have her be seductive, like villain.
Yeah.
It's like, what? But it also means that when she fights Batman, she's going to be like in her 50s and knackered. And you know what I mean? Like,
she's going to be like an oak by that time, an ancient oak.
Freeze has been in it.
Oh, back.
Mr. Freeze has been in it, like full-blown cryo suit, like no helmet, but like goggles and thing, keeping him at a cool temperature. The Mad Hatter's been a big villain in it. They're just ticking off all the boxes, and you're like, why?
The thing is, it's like,
why?
it's like you're saying, that escalation, the effect it has on normal people, that's an interesting jumping off point.
Yeah,
of
like
stories.
at the end of when Jerome dies, spoilers in Series
Yeah.
2, people who've sort of followed his thing on TV, watching his thick sprees, go nuts, and he gets like a band of followers.
But
One of them played by David DeSmolchin, who
Who's
helps
been in fucking everything now.
resurrect him in Series 3, because you go strangers in Series 3 doing fucked up experiments on people, and Jerome gets resurrected, but prior to his resurrection, to try and inspire his followers, DeSmolchin cut off his face and wore Jerome's face or whatever to like rally up his followers, and then of course Jerome becomes alive, is alive again, so takes back the face and staples it on, so you've got the death of the family style Joker, and then he sews it back on, and they do a whole Haley Circus thing with him as the ringmaster, and it's just like,
the problem is with
why?
all this stuff is
he appeared in the mid-season finale in November or something. He's in Arkham now, and he's got the end game, like, shaved sides of the head.
Yeah.
His face is all healed, but the faint scars there, and his lips are big and red, and it's like, just do, if you're going to do the Joker, just do the Joker. You've done all these other villains. Just do it, and we'll care as little as we do already. But like Metropolis and Gotham.
But the problem is
Krypton,
that all
just
this
tell these stories.
all this escalation is sparked off by the arrival of Batman.
Yeah, this show is
Like,
saying that
that's
he's just a band-aid, is
But-
what this show's
But
saying.
no,
He'll come
he
up one day
causes it.
Yeah.
Like, he fucking causes the problems he ends up trying to solve.
Luthor
That's
isn't a
the-
mad scientist before Superman arrives. He's a corrupt businessman and a bit of... No, but I mean, like, in the modern context of Luthor, he doesn't start going unhinged until Superman arrives on the scene. Because
That's what
suddenly
kicks him into overdrive.
his extreme xenophobia has a target to throw things at now. Yeah.
So you're trying to have a show about the
He feels
effect that
personally
these
insulted. You know?
that the arrival of these heroes has without these heroes arriving. So what is this all coming from? Like, what's the reason for all this to be happening?
It's because they did Smallville once upon a time, and that did the same thing. Here's Superman as a teen. It's kind of like Buffy, but a bit more like fantastical rather than focused on, teenage angst and the experience of growing up and stuff.
Everything's a little blander.
Yeah, like,
It's
it's not monsters are a metaphor for teenage strife. It's look at these sort of Buffy-esque kind of sci-fi
Like,
monsters.
quite literally, let's put some people from Buffy in it.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. And then as it went on, like, oh fuck it, here's Metallo. Let's do Metallo.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do Brainiac. Let's do it. And then by the
Let's
time
do Doomsday.
by the final shot of the series where he's leaping off the roof and he tears open the costume, there's his shirt. There's the costume, and the show ends. You're like, he's beaten everyone.
He's already beaten all
He's
his
fought
villains.
Darkseid. He's fought Doomsday. He's fought Lex Luthor. He's fought Alexander Luthor. He's met the Justice Society of America. Like, the show has blatantly suggested that certain other big DC characters do exist in this world.
Green Arrow's been around.
Green
The Flash has been around.
Flash's been around. It's just like, where's he got to go?
So where does this now leave us, given the track record of these things? What do we feel about Metropolis?
It's gonna be shit, mate. It's gonna be shit.
Spiffy. 6 seasons in a movie. It'll end up being one of those things that runs for fucking
it'll
ever.
run forever, because-
I genuinely thought Gotham had finished.
No, it's still
It
going.
must be on season 5 or 6. Right?
Season 4, mid-season.
Yeah, season 4.
And the series have all had different names since series 2 came back.
Yeah, they've had like subtitles.
Each half season.
Oh,
isn't
well,
it?
like Gotham,
Like
New Dawn. Or
Rise
something
of the
like that.
Villains. And,
Oh, for
yeah.
fuck's sake.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Good
I mean,
times.
Would you like a bland version of Zaz, who's just a gunman?
Love it.
Here he is.
Sorry, Zaz is a gunman.
Yeah, Zaz is an
his
assassin.
whole thing is
Zaz is an
the
assassin. in
slicing,
Gotham.
no?
He's the assassin used like by the mob. He's the one they're like, we need him taken out. Leave it with me.
But Zaz is a knife man.
Oh, he uses a knife at some point, and he's got like a tally mark on his neck or something, like in Batman Begins. It's like, there you go.
Oh, fucking hell.
And Mad Hatter's a sexy stage hypnotist.
Sure. I mean,
Instead
that I'm into.
Instead of a creepy,
yeah,
old ex-therapist turned haberdasher who's got fucking mental problems.
Okay, now you're talking,
You know what I mean?
you're talking me about round. I should watch this.
And also definitely a pederast. Like,
That's
No,
not what I thought I was going to laugh at today.
no matter how subtle they try and be about it, like, he's definitely a paedophile. Yeah, Metropolis was bad. The water is wet. So we got a couple of trailers to talk about. Solo, a Star Wars story, finally failed to show a trailer yet again.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Just-
This is January the 30th, in the year of our Lord 2018.
Yeah, we're recording this on the January 30th.
If by some miracle a trailer for Solo, a Star Wars story drops in the next 3 days, we will eat our own knees.
Like, if there is not a Solo trailer attached to Black Panther, which is out in, pardon me, just under 2 weeks. It's out on the 13th of February.
Oh my
It's
god.
just going to be Disney breaking its own release schedule, like 3 films in.
If there is not a Solo trailer attached to that, like, that thing's supposed to be out in like April.
Yeah, I think we get it mid-May, I think. Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, Disney have been...
I'm
you
gonna
know,
check
they dumped a whole bunch of money into getting all these properties, and now were adhering to a very strict schedule in order to maintain, a steady cash flow to fill that gap and then make all the money. And if this early on things are starting to fall apart, even though I've thoroughly enjoyed their output so far, it's going to put a pretty significant shadow over the future of, or at least for the short term, of the kind of, I don't know, the stability of the House of Mouse.
It is expected on the 25th of May. That's
to
when
drop
they-
here.
To release, yeah.
To release. Okay,
To be out in cinemas.
Wow. I mean,
And we've not seen a
honestly,
trailer
I mean,
yet.
like, stranger things have happened. Like, if you take the Ridley Scott film, like, that was, a couple of weeks away from release before they reshot the
Oh yeah,
entire
that All the
thing?
Money in the World, yeah. But I mean, also that was probably
It wasn't a very CG heavy.
yeah, that was probably a much less complex production in terms of visual effects, and also I think Christopher Plummer only did like 9 days of filming, so like there wasn't actually that much of Kevin Spacey in the. Relatively speaking, to have to replace.
And also because they had a finished cut of the movie, they could pinpoint exactly
yeah, they knew
what
exactly
shots
what coverage they
needed.
needed to get because they'd already shot it.
I mean, I mean, if anyone's gonna write a ship as big and complicated as a Star Wars film, it'll be, Disney.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, it's the lack of any kind of
like
communication is deeply concerning, because they're the first people that will be like, look, this is our thing. We're putting stuff out, little teasers, this, that, the other. We're gonna have people doing press junkets.
The
it's
sheer
constant.
blitz of marketing you get for a big Disney film, big Marvel film, big Star Wars film, big Disney film, big Pixar film. Like there's just the inundation of stuff. Like we got.
I thought I'd missed Coco.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so much of it visually in the last 2 months. I was like, I must have missed it.
I completely forgot. Well, also the US got it like October, November time.
Yeah.
And we only
But
just got
even
it,
over here, like the billboards, it's so that they are not ones to.
They're not subtle.
To shy
last
away
minute,
from
here you go.
self-promotion.
Oh no,
Yeah.
shit no. Like they throw it at you.
Yeah,
They
no,
ram
the
it down
fact is
your
I
throats.
genuinely had forgotten that it was even a thing until you mentioned that how notable it was by its absence, and it's odd.
It is weird
To have a huge Disney Lucasfilm tentpole just fade away.
that thing is round the corner.
Well, thinking about like the Disney releases this year, like off the top of my head, the Disney movies I know coming out this year are Black Panther,
Yeah.
Avengers, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Which we've got a trailer for today, and that's out in August.
Yeah.
So,
A Wrinkle in Time.
which we've got trailers for before Christmas.
But it's like,
That was
to
pretty
me,
fucking
it's
good.
like, it does look pretty sweet. But it's like, to me, it's like, right, okay, I know what Disney's like big live action releases are this year. Oh wait, Solo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
because we're not
coming,
getting a
isn't it?
Christmas Star Wars film this year.
Maybe it's
back
maybe
to-
it's also because it's really soon after The Last Jedi. Part of me did wonder that when it got to Christmas time, I was like, maybe we've not seen anything yet because they're going to wait till the new year.
No,
and
but
they're
that
gonna
would
go,
make sense.
Hope you all
though,
enjoyed The Last
to
Jedi.
throw solo trailers in front of Last Jedi. Like that would make perfect
unless
sense.
it's sort of that. Well, no, Marvel throw Marvel in front of Marvel, don't they?
Yeah, like you know your
Um,
audience.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing the Marvel model and you want people to see every one of these things, then you know exactly how to reel them in by showing them more of whatever's next.
It's very...
It's
yeah,
really
it's
weird.
And
really
it
weird,
does nothing
yeah.
to quell the rumours of the on-set troubles.
Oh, yeah, yeah. 'cause
It does nothing to
that
make
thing
that feel any
was-
less complicated.
Yeah, famously tortured. And
Wouldn't
to the
it
point
so
where...
simple?
Yeah, well...
Well,
so-
to the point where just straight up people saying, yeah, the problem is Alden Ehrenreich can't act. Which seems hard to believe, but
is that really what people have said?
I've heard that. I heard that he had an acting
it's-
coach come onto the project.
Yeah, because
I've heard that he's terrible in it.
That's not necessarily that unusual.
Oh, no,
though.
no, no.
Americans
Oh, no.
do have
Yeah.
that kind of relationship.
And also because
with-
he's playing
with
a
tutors.
pre-established character that has a very specific
Yeah.
way of speaking and everything, it may
Yeah.
be that the acting coach is on set to sort of
I don't
keep
think
him
having an
reined
acting coach
in.
coming onto the set is
Like De
is
Niro
sort of
famously
helping.
has a guy that goes with him from set to set.
But we've had set reports. Well, I say we've had set reports of
Of him not being able
unknown
to
legitimacy of him just
improv,
being like,
for
yeah, he's
example.
fucking terrible in it.
Well, it was about improv
really?
specifically.
Wow.
Because when Lord and Miller were on the project, there was a lot
It
more
was very
improvisation
improv heavy.
encouraged, and Alden just wasn't keeping up. And the thing is, the more I hear about that, the more I'm like, because I think it was we discussed it. Like the two
Yeah.
people who were like the finalists as far as Disney were concerned for the role was Alden Ehrenreich, and
Wasn't there a guy who like played young Harrison Ford in like?
oh
a
no,
thing
Anthony Ingruber.
that looks
And
just
no,
like
people
him as well.
pushed for him.
Oh right, he was never
I
involved.
don't think he was ever in the running, or if he was, it was more. Maybe we'll chat with this guy, but he wasn't like in the
Right,
because
right.
the last two was between Alden Ehrenreich and Ansel
Until-
Elgort,
yeah.
who the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I would believe he was a younger Han Solo.
Baby
Probably a
Driver.
bit younger than the story they're yeah, Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Probably a bit younger
It's fucking great,
than the
Baby
story that they're setting it as. Like rewind
Yeah.
another 5 or 6 years for the character,
Yeah.
maybe. But no, the Lego set. The most we've had is a Lego set. It was previewed in a mag somewhere, and it's the Kessel Run playset.
Right,
Which is
could-
depressing
Which,
slightly.
and also which could have been
Yeah.
released, 40 years ago.
But apparently that is part of this movie. So,
Sure.
so he's going to meet Lando, and he's going to meet Chewie, and he's
Well,
going
I
to meet
think-
the Falcon, he's going to do the Kessel Run.
I think from
And
the
then we'll have
little
nothing interesting to say about this character.
from the
ever
little we
again.
know about this movie, I think that it is about him getting the Falcon. So meeting Lando,
I would
getting
rather.
the Falcon off him, becoming.
It just seems
Solo, we know.
lazy. It seems like a checklist.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's like we're doing a Fantastic Four movie. Who's the villain? Doctor Doom. Or maybe try something
but
different.
like a Han Solo movie prequel was always going to
Yeah.
be lazy.
And
like,
also, Rogue One,
I
you
would
could
rather
boil,
them
you could
haul
boil that
raft
down
tiles.
to, oh, you know how the Death Star had that dumb mistake that people have been poking
Yeah.
holes at for years?
Mm.
Yeah, this is why. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, the kind of elevator pitch is a bit of a shrug,
Mm.
but the way in which it's presented is
Yeah.
like a kind of gritty war film.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Star Wars, but like, kind of shaky cam,
Yeah.
Paul Greengrass sort of style in a way. It's like,
I think that was the appeal
I
of
like-
Rogue One. I think
that's
wasn't it?
so.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily it being a bit of a rote, slightly lazy pitch is necessarily an indication that it's going to be bad.
It's more
It's
the
everything
execution.
that's happened
Yeah.
since then,
But I think-
which is an
Yeah.
indication
The,
that it may
because
well
the
be.
execution could be what saves the idea.
Yeah, also because all we can do at
Possibly.
this point is
But-
speculate.
Yeah.
There's nothing to go. Oh well.
Well, we
but
saw what the side of one of Lando's costume looked like in a costume rack.
that's true.
So there's that.
I like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I like having
Yeah.
her in there.
Donald Glover is great.
Donald
So
Glover
I
is
would,
Lando,
Donald
yeah.
Glover's Lando. I would like to watch a movie released in the now where Chewbacca has slightly more of a role than he did in The Last
Yeah.
Jedi. Would be
Yeah.
nice. I'm not saying his role should have been expanded in The Last Jedi, but just giving him a weird Porg subplot
I don't know. I
Nothing
I
to
don't
do
know.
with anything?
I don't know. I was into the porgs.
No, that was
Oh,
into
no, it's
the
fine,
film.
but I was just
I
like,
was
Chewie felt like he'd been sidelined for a weird comedy bit. And I was like, get Chewie something to... In the last one, he shot his, like,
No, he's
his, like, adoptive nephew in the gut. Like, I give him something to do.
I can't remember who said this, so credit where credit is due if I can remember them. But like, Rey spends like a Force Awakens and Last Jedi looking for a father figure, but she's already got one because Chewie's waiting in the car to take her home like the whole film.
That's great. That's pretty great.
Like,
Just a really, really long, inappropriate date.
yeah.
Oh my
That's
god,
basically
now,
what
now
it
you've
is.
said that, if she like manages to sort of talk to Kylo and convince him to come back with them briefly in the next one, the scene has got to be them walking up the Falcon and Chewie being like, "And who's this?"
What time do you call it?
He drops her
What
off.
are your future prospects?
Yeah.
What are your intentions
He
with my
drops her off
daughter?
reluctantly at this shady boy's house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all there. Right. Anyway, fucking what did we get? We got Ant-Man and the Wasp,
We did.
Yes, we more love
which
it.
looks just
Fun.
lovely. Looks great fun.
It looks really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it takes... It does the great thing of like, oh, what did Ant-Man do really well? Oh, it played with the size thing really, really well. We're going to take that and we're going to run with it. And there's like 7 or 8 really good visual gags just in the trailer to do with like this difference in sizes and stuff, which takes the Thomas the Tank moment from the first
Yeah.
movie
Oh,
and just
God.
runs
Is
with
that
it.
that's the really nice thing about, I think, Ant-Man almost more than the other kind of individual series is the fact that it does lean into its levity
Yeah.
quite hard.
It's the most openly comic of any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Ragnarok lent into the comedy a bit more, but it's the first Thor movie that's done that. And
Yeah.
it's also partly Taika Waititi's voice coming through in that film.
Quite
As a
literally.
quite literally.
Yes.
But also as a director and being given more freedom. But yeah, the first Ant-Man is the most overtly comic of any of those movies. And yeah, to see them lean into that again, just, yeah, it's going to be... And they've got two... I mean, Evangeline Lilly, I've not really seen her in a comedy, so I don't know what comedy chops are like, but I think she was great in the first one, and she's great in everything I can think that I've seen her in, so there we go. But you've also, Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas. Paul Rudd has done numerous comedies, and Michael Douglas can do that sort of hero comic thing, because he'd done Romancing the Stone.
Yes,
And
of course.
For better or worse, he also did Julian and Isle, but, but he has got
This is going to be our Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I swear.
I mean, if his, if his Hank Pym is just like a older, grizzled version of that character, then we're all right, aren't we? I mean, it worked in the first one.
Best shot. For me, it's the office building shrinking down,
Oh,
and then Hank
fuck
coming over
me.
and pulling the
That's
like
very
preset
good.
handle
It's
out
so
of it, and
good.
pulling it along.
It's so good.
I like the end of a high-speed chase being sort of having the exclamation point at the end of it being an enormous sort of Hello Kitty Pez dispenser being flung from a van. That is, I think that's the last shot of the thing. Is when you've got this kind of nice sort of 50s serial style lettering of Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's like that's kind of it's very, very aware of how campy and silly and fun it is, and it's not shying away from it at all.
And I think it's going to be a welcome palate cleanser coming from
Infinity
Black
War,
Panther.
yeah.
Looks like it's going to be relatively serious.
Action heavy, epic,
Action-heavy and
with
epic
a wonderful visual
Yeah.
aesthetic.
Infinity War is probably going to end on a downer. It's probably going to be all Empire Strikes Back and shit.
Sure.
And then Ant-Man and Wasp just looks like it's going to be a great palette.
Because Ant-Man and Wasp is coming out after.
Yeah, we
Infinity
get
War
all of our Marvel
is-
films
we're
within
getting
like the first 12 months,
Black
first 6
Panther,
months.
we're getting
The first
on
12.
13th February. Infinity War is May?
I think we might get it last week of April, actually. I'll double
Yeah.
check. I'll double check.
but it's like early summer, and then Ant-Man and Wasp is August.
Okay, so the Infinity War 1 is May. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Ant-Man is it's existing in a post-Infinity War world,
Assuming, yeah,
or concurrent
possibly.
Infinity War world.
Because with the exception of Guardians...
Ant-Man's in Infinity War in some
Yeah,
capacity. I don't think he's in any of the
but
trailers.
in this trailer, he's
But-
also clearly still on...
Infinity War will have the characters...
Well, no, because
we'll
at the
find
end
out where
of-
they went from the end of the raft,
Yeah,
won't we?
at the end of Civil War, he was on the run.
Yeah, he was on the raft. Cap appears at the raft at the end, clearly there to break them all out.
And there's at least one scene in this where he's clearly under house arrest with the tag, the ankle tag, and also Hank and Hope Pym had to go on the run. Yeah. Because of what he did.
Yes, because she does say, "Oh, had you kept taking me with you, who knows what would have happened, but you wouldn't have been caught."
Yeah. And it's so, yeah. It will certainly deal with the Civil War repercussions, which I would assume will also take into account the Infinite Wheel stuff, because with the exception of Guardians Volume 2, all of the Marvel movies have taken place in chronological order, roughly in real time.
Right,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Guardians Volume 2 takes place 6 months after Guardians 1. So that takes place before all the other movies.
That takes place in 2014.
Yeah.
Apart from its mid-credit sequence with Teenage Groot, which is closer to now. Like, that's closer to how old Groot is.
Because then you get Teenage Groot in the Ragnarok post-credits? Is Groot in that?
No, it's the teaser trailer for Infinity War. After the trailer ends, it's Thor going.
Oh yeah, there wasn't the post-credits. Yeah.
The post-credits for Ragnarok was
Grandmaster.
Was Taskmaster Ship Thanos' ship arriving, and then the Grandmaster post-credits being like, "Hooray! Wanted to send you home on
Jeff
a
Goldblum,
no,
Jeff motherfucking Goldblum.
So release dates US release dates according to Black Panther is Valentine's week of February.
Yes.
Avengers Infinity War is down for a US release date of May the 4th, so we'll probably get it April 30th. To be honest, that's been the trend for the last ones. And Ant-Man the Wasp is due out in the US on July 6th, so we're probably going to get that around the same time.
I've seen that for August.
Have you seen the poster for Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I haven't.
It's
very good.
Just
I know. I'm just curious as to how
not the only Marvel films out this year as well.
The effects, if they're going to be taken into account, depending on the time frame of Infinity War, particularly given that it's the first one of two, how that's going to bleed in or not into Ant-Man, because that seems like the Infinity War twosome is very much a kind of like that's very much an end point. Yeah, there's
and they've said as much. Like they're saying like Avengers 4, whatever it ends up being called, that's like going to be an ending for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, like aside from your Guardians, your Spidey, Doctor Strange, it's going to be a wrap up
because it's been a cycle that's been going round and round and round now for 10 years.
Yeah.
And and despite everything else, like people are getting a whole bunch older.
People's contracts
are coming up.
Well, Downey Jr. was leaving it all circa Age of Ultron originally, wasn't he? He said he wasn't going to do an Iron Man 4, and that the next Avengers would probably be his last. And then he signed an extension for another 3 pictures, which turned out to be Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and what was then still a 1-part, or at least a one shoot
movie.
2-part,
now
one
it's
shoot
2
movie.
separate movies.
Yeah.
Although, did they shoot some of it back to back?
They've wrapped number 2 already.
So they've already shot the whole thing?
They shot all of 1, took a very brief break of about 3 weeks, and then started on number 2.
Jesus.
Yeah, like they ploughed through it. And certain actors were only needed for like 4 or 5 day chunks because of them wanting to keep it as spoiler free as possible.
Yeah.
Based on either how little they were needed, so they just kept it concentrated and contained.
Give them 1 page of dialogue.
Or how terrible they are at keeping secrets in the case of at least one of the actors.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo knows a bit more than others. Tom Holland.
Oh, Tom Holland.
Filmed for about 4 weeks maximum for Infinity War, and he says in an interview he only ever met about 2 of the other actors on the film. All of his stuff was shot within partial sets with green screen or green screen studios, and he was given basic motivation and stuff like the day before shooting, and was given his lines the morning of shooting with a couple of hours to learn them.
Wow.
And I think that's because they're like, we don't
like
trust
this
you.
place is a leaky fucking shit, and
yeah.
you're
You are
the iceberg.
But to show that they're in
hell.
good humour about it, they've had he was the one who revealed the poster for the film in a video that was like put out originally on his Instagram story, like live Instagram story, and it was staged in a way where he'd been sent something by Mark Ruffalo to not show anyone. but he didn't realise that until he read it too late. As he opens it and reads the note on the back and the posters in full frame, and then he's like, shit. And then he turns the camera off.
Nice.
And everyone was like, oh no! But then Marvel pulled it out like a minute later. So it's like, yeah, we did this on purpose to sort of take the piss out of the fact that these two aren't very good at this. And it's like, fair enough. Another one, Sebastian Stan, he let slip stuff.
That must be hard, mustn't it? Because he's, 19, 20?
Yeah.
So it's basically like you're in one of the most exciting things ever. Never tell a soul.
Don't you dare tell a soul, you little bastard!
Which he's already had to do twice, because he's had to do it for the Civil War and Homecoming.
Yeah, Civil War, Civil War, he was present for quite a bit of the airport sequence. He was there. In most versions of the show.
He had to do the secret keeping thing for 2 movies. Yeah.
But he did it well with that one. Nothing came out. And there was no indication that he was... We knew he was in the movie, but there was no indication he was in that scene.
No.
Until that teaser trailer in... the second trailer in March 2016.
With the reveal of...
Hey guys. Before that we knew he was in it. That was it. But we'd seen footage of that battle, and it's footage where... I watched behind the scenes the other day. He's there. They've removed him for the lineup shots. He is there. I thought maybe, they've shot his stuff separately and then put him in those shots. No, he's there. He's there. They just took him out for the trailers to make sure there was no Spider-Man until
they do fuck around with stuff in the trailers that we've seen before. They will digitally alter stuff, change day and night, change location backgrounds. Just to fuck with you.
People knew that Hopkins had filmed stuff in a field for Ragnarok.
But then
so to make sure you couldn't draw any lines or conclusions, you see Hela grab the hammer in an alleyway in the trailer instead of in a field. So it's
and stuff like the Yellow Jacket stuff being during the day in the original Ant-Man trailer, and then it's at night in the film, and it's different frame, different lane.
It seems like such a simple sort of trick. But no, it's really effective. I hadn't even thought about the alley and the field thing, but because
you look for certain locations,
of course I'm subconsciously looking for those things, and then when they don't come up, that's really clever. I hadn't even connected those.
Because it's not lying. It's just making sure you don't concentrate too hard and give the game away.
I'm all for lying in trailers, if it.
There's one line in a trailer from recent years that I'll never forget, which is Jyn Erso facing a TIE fighter. I was like, I want to see that. Yeah. I want to see that tiny Jin on the shelf who's plastic and can't actually answer my question. Next to my don't choke on your aspirations motivational poster Vader.
From Tiny Jin to Pacific Rim.
Very good.
Oh, that was a good segue. Damn it, I acknowledged it was a segue.
Stop acknowledging it.
Oh, no! Take a drink.
How do we feel about Pacific Rim Uprising? Because I think it looks pretty stupid and pretty fun. And I mean stupid in the best way possible.
I also think it looks aggressively stupid. I am into it.
Yeah, because I don't need my films to be smart. I just need them to be fun. I don't even need them to be good. They just need to be fun.
Yeah.
Boring is the worst thing a film can be.
Fun can be had with a bad film.
And this looks like it's loud, it's colourful, it's frenetic, it's basically anime. It's basically live action anime. It's in a way that Ghost in the Shell never was.
It's like live action Gundam or Evangelion or something like that.
Yeah, it's the ending 10 minutes of an episode of Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Made flesh.
Which they tried that with Power Rangers, actual Power Rangers, and it didn't really work. No.
The most interesting thing about that was the teenage cast and how they interacted.
Yeah. And then the last 10 minutes of that movie was a Power Rangers episode.
And don't get us wrong, really cool one.
I'd
like a 2-hour Power Rangers episode.
The Power Rangers movie
was called Pacific Rim.
A Power Rangers episode with 2 hours of gunk in front of it. That was the Power Rangers movie.
What would have been great if they'd done that with the Power Rangers film, where they would have done it like the TV show, where they would have had this Hollywood level production quality of the live action stuff, and then being cut into
cut in a Sentai
with this other really janky Japanese TV show.
Because I spend not a fair amount of time looking after children in my family and stuff like that, and with friends. I've absorbed some more modern Power Rangers.
Oh yeah,
and they've gotten really good at covering up the cracks.
Oh really? Are there still cracks? Is it still the same show that they're intercutting with?
I only know they're intercutting because I know how that show is made. But I'm looking at it, I'm going, fucking hell.
Well, because
Like, they'll
as
bring...
it advanced, they got more of the costumes and stuff.
Yeah, so they'll bring...
They have those assets too if they need to add stuff, don't they?
Yeah,
Like,
so they'll bring monster costumes into the live action stuff for the American kids and splice it all together and stuff. It's yeah. That show is still ridiculous, not very good, but kind of fun. Power Rangers is kind of fun.
It is kind of fun.
But just don't go in
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Also, it's not for us, so don't worry about it. Just watch it and enjoy it. But don't,
I do think
It's
Pacific
not for
Rim
adults,
Uprising. It's not. I don't think that's probably not for adults either.
No, it's just...
But I mean, if I'm going to be going and seeing something in, say, an IMAX, big, loud, colourful, like a kind of assault on the senses, like you know, like I've been to a gallery and it was just a canvas of red paint, and I as someone who's an idiot, I just found it kind of confusing and a little frustrating. I wasn't sure what to make of it. And a friend of mine just said, "Well, it's just an attack on the senses. Like, you just let it wash over you. Just enjoy it for what it is." So moving on from that, I would say that from what I've seen, Pacific Rim is basically modern art.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be an attack on the senses.
And
Definitely going to be that.
is that not what the art of cinema is?
Listen, if all this movie is...
Sweet dear Matthew!
Is John Boyega got a bunch of Star Wars money and was like, hey, here's my production company. What movie do I want to make? I want to make another one of them. That's fine.
More power to
Like,
him.
Just,
More
if that's
power
what you
to
want
him.
to do with your Star Wars money, John Boyega, fucking by all means go for it.
Literally, could do anything you wanted with it. Let's revive a dead
Let's
franchise
make
that even
another Pacific
Guillermo del
Rim.
Toro couldn't make work. Let's do that.
He would come back to do it, were he not working on the pre-production of 85 different projects.
That are never going to
yeah,
get made.
86 of them won't get made.
I'm just going to say it now, like, if Shape of Water sweeps
I
up so many
cannot
Oscars,
wait to see
can
the
he
Shape
just
of
turn
Water.
around now to Disney and Warner Brothers and just bring up all the, like, 3 or 4 massive passion ones that he really wants to do and just go, can I do these now?
If he gets an Oscar, he can wave the Oscar around and go, let me make the Mountains of Madness now! Please! Please let me make it!
Disney, this Haunted Mansion script isn't going to film itself. We're like, yes, please.
I just want...
He made his Haunted Mansion movie. It was called Crimson Peak.
The thing that pisses
Now
me
let
off...
him make the Haunted Mansion movie.
The thing that pisses me off is that At the Mountains of Madness didn't happen primarily because of Prometheus. And it still
Wow,
has
that
its
film
plot
and its legacy
Oh,
have
man.
a lot of blame on it.
Shit, yeah, man.
We ain't
remember how
getting
disappointed we
Blomkamp's-
were with Prometheus?
We went to see Prometheus together.
Did you see Covenant? Any Covenant?
No, I avoided that.
Oh, fucking hell, that is more the same.
Except with more alien this time. Because you wanted to know where they came from, right?
You sure I did? It's
You
the
wanted
question
to-
I've been asking for years.
Well, here they is, baby. You like it? Here. Think about it for a second. It doesn't make any sense, but you wanted it though, right?
Does Eastbound and Down last very long? What's his name?
Yeah, Danny
Oh, yeah.
McBride's
Danny
throughout
McBride.
pretty much throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh, he last.
And he's really good in it. Like,
Actually, I think
I really like him in it.
Oh.
doesn't he last the entire film?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
He's one of the final...
Well, 3 sort of.
I'd say spoilers really in Covenant, but it's shit, so don't worry about it.
Don't don't actually see
Yeah,
it.
no,
If
he's
it's just on Netflix one day, just check it out out of curiosity.
There's
He's one
good
of the
stuff on
last
Netflix I haven't checked out. I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, yeah.
But, well, watch it. But fast
I
forward
have.
to the Michael Fassbender talks to Michael Fassbender and teaches him how to suck dick. Play a flute scene.
You blow, I'll do the fingering.
Wait, what?
That's an actual line.
Can I just not go on?
Purse your
Can
lips and
I
like,
just
purse
go?
your lips
Actual
into the-
line.
You need to press your lips more into the embouchure. You blow, I should do the fingering. That is a genuine line. It is also, to date, our second most popular episode of Big Damn Cast. It's the one with the title, I'll Do the Fingering.
Brilliant.
With an alien for the...
There were people sniggering quite loudly in the cinema when we saw that. because-
What I'll do instead of watching the film, then I'll just type Michael Fassbender fingering into Tumblr,
that can't go wrong!
and I'm sure I'll find what I'm looking for.
Oh, look! Charles Xavier and Eric Lensher. I've never seen this picture before.
Ah!
Old friend.
Do it on Tumblr. And to wrap up our little trailer roundup, the sequel we've all been waiting for
We have-
with bated breath.
Bait.
It's the sequel.
Like you would cast into.
B-A-I-T.
What are you talking about, old chum? The waters?
Deep Blue Sea 2.
Deep Blue Sea 2.
Deep Blue Sea 2. Remember Deep Blue Sea? That stupid
Sure I do.
movie with Thomas Jane and Samuel L. Jackson.
And famously,
LL Cool J, whose hat is like a shark's fin.
Sure it is.
Before we
Deepest bluest. Even though it's a black hat he's wearing.
before we proceed, is there something we're allowed to discuss here?
Oh, sure, I never booked it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, in yet another weird, calamitous coincidence of sheer cosmic proportions, the last time we had Charlie on this podcast, we were discussing EA's practices, and we brought up the making of, if I remember correctly, Need for Speed.
It was Need for Speed Payback.
Payback, that was it.
Which just came out. Yeah,
And
that
To
came out over Christmas.
thunderous hatred,
Oh,
much
yeah.
to my delight.
People did not like that.
And by sheer coincidence, we discovered as we were recording that Charles not only auditioned for, but was in that game to a point,
Yeah.
and then it was recast.
Yes.
So we got to talk from a first-hand perspective about EA's practices in the studio and how they work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, because cosmic coincidence is a thing,
It fucking loves us. Yeah.
Deep Blue Sea 2 was brought up this afternoon as a topic by Matt, and Charlie turned to us and
Because of
said,
course I'd bring it up.
I auditioned for that.
Yeah, I wasn't good enough to be in Deep Blue Sea 2.
Is that what happened though?
Well,
Is that what it was?
no. I mean, the
Oh my
meeting
God.
it came through as they do in an email.
Oh,
I saw the header of the email. Thought, oh, this looks dumb. This is and weirdly enough, you'd think a film like this they wouldn't necessarily be too funny about plot details and stuff like that. They were incredibly, pardon the pun, cagey about about it all, and I was only ever given I think maybe 3/4 of a page of dialogue to go over,
hell.
all of which was they're coming, they're gonna, and it's like screaming as if they're banging the door down. And that it was one of dozens of shitty auditions that have happened over the years. I genuinely, I'd forgotten it even existed. And bear in mind as well, this audition was something I did years ago. Like this film, for whatever reason, has been sat on the shelf. Partly,
It
Matt,
shot
you think-
last summer.
well, partly the release date sort of is coinciding with.
I imagine it's got something to do with the fact that the Meg's coming out this year, which is the Jason Statham versus Giant Shark.
Is it
movie.
Is it possible? Is it 10 years since? No, 20 years since Deep Blue Sea 2?
When did
Deep Blue Sea 1?
No, Deep Blue Sea came out-
1999, 19 years.
It's
19
years,
okay.
Why
So
didn't
it's-
he push it to next year?
Just
then?
push it to next year. We'll have a big 2-0. We'll have a 60-year-old LL Cool J doing another shitty rap.
Deepish, bluish, my head is like a shark's fin.
From what we've seen of the trailer, I say another side note. I don't remember what part it was really. It was someone who yells a lot about sharks.
Which could be anyone.
Could be all of them.
Could
I maybe
be anyone.
auditioned for all of them.
There's a little background. In 2008, Warner Premiere was planning a direct-to-video sequel to Deep Blue Sea, which would be released sometime in 2009, so on the 10th anniversary.
Mm.
However, the project was never realised nor released on the scheduled date.
It's too good for this world.
In June 2017, it was announced that a sequel directed by Darren Scott had begun filming in Cape Town. The film stars Michael Beach and will be released as a television film on Sci-Fi. In
We just say
December
that
2017, it premieres this year. It was when it was announced.
his surname is Beach, as in the sandy thing, not Beach, as in the tree. It's B-E-A-C-H.
very nice.
So that is serious fucking brand synergy
That's
there.
nominative determinism, then.
So they announced.
So if only my name was Charlie the Shark Boy, maybe I would have been in with a
Oh
shark.
my god! Imagine
Charlie
if you
the
were
Shark's fin.
Imagine
Charlie the Shark
imagine
Fin.
if you were like you've been named after Shark Boy and Lava Girl, the film.
Only.
So your name was just Charlie Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and you changed your
film.
stage name to just Charlie Shark Boy.
just
Just apply for Shark projects.
You know what it's like being an actor with a surname people can't spell. It's a nightmare.
Let alone
Great.
an actor with a surname people can't fit on the fucking page.
Oh no, I have to have my name in lights.
I can't fit it on a marquee. I'm not.
We're going to change it to...
Not got enough
Charlie
vowels.
Sharks. We're going to call you Charlie Sharks now.
So, if only. No, I mean, so that project unfortunately eluded me this time.
So, if it shot last summer, it could have auditioned and cast in 2015, 2016.
More like
If it shot last
2016.
summer.
Possibly, yeah. That
But
may
it could have
one
been
audition.
before. I'm thinking, reading this, if a direct-to-video sequel was in the planning stages and whatnot in as early as 2008, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the same script that had floated around. Pardon the...
Very good.
Yes.
No,
I
I wouldn't be surprised, if they'd hashed something out
So you could have
10
auditioned...
years ago and they left.
Oh,
So
you just
I'd
put it in a show.
yeah.
Put it on a
Like,
show
I
for a
wouldn't
bit,
be surprised if there was like a Sony Walkman or something in this thing. Or
It's one of those. It's for sci-fi, I'll have like a shelf or like a. Let's be honest, a fucking warehouse of scripts that have been written and shelved. And every time a movie comes out, they'll be like, "Right, what have we got? Let's go into the warehouse and see what we've got that might be kind of similar, and we can sort of push out and have like a same thing on it, maybe." And they'll go into it and they'll leaf through all the scripts and they'll go, "Oh, this has got a shark in it. That giant shark movie with Jason Statham's coming out. Let's squat this one out." So yeah, I imagine it's some kind of situation like that.
Yeah, I mean, and doing something that's akin to a Transformers or a Pacific Rim or something is far too expensive, so they never bother.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Asylum have done it before.
Asylum have,
They've had the Transmorphers
And they are
stuff.
bad.
I've not seen them. But yeah, I mean, between us, we know our fair share of people who have auditioned for and been in various sort of straight-to-video
terrible
genre
films.
movies.
Yeah. You may be surprised if you aren't involved in this kind of line of work.
We've seen one of them.
Yeah, the kind of saturation of of so many terrible films, because they exist and there is apparently a market for them.
And most of them film in Europe.
A lot of them go to Eastern Europe because it's a fraction of the cost. The name brand value alone somehow, and it seems to have this weird kind of like retail spike in South America and things like that. These kinds of films do really well in Brazil and things like that. So
like Brazil is the country of knockoffs.
Yeah,
do you think it's because
it's because of like weird like import export local production laws? Like knockoff stuff is fucking huge in Brazil.
do you think it's the old stereotype of countries outside of like America tend to get the movies like years too late? So these sequels are there to cash in on when those countries are going to get this movie. So like there's a place somewhere in Middle Europe who only got Kindergarten Cop 2 years ago, and that's why Kindergarten Cop 2 was made.
with Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah,
That exists.
yeah. Jingle All the Way 2.
That exists.
Jingle All the Way 2 with Larry the Cable Guy.
What?
That I unfortunately was aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Home
god.
Alone 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
I was aware of all of that.
These movies are real, people, and they're a real problem, and we have to stamp them out.
We have to stamp them out wherever we find
Christmas
them.
Story 2. I think that's in pre-production, actually. I'm not sure, but still.
I mean, it does really boggle the mind, because you do have to think, like, how much stock does A Christmas Story have?
I think people are nostalgic for that film.
Sure. But to the point where they're like, "Oh, they're doing a new one."
Oh yeah.
Like, they're not waiting to hear what the next chapter in the Christmas Story.
I don't think people are looking for a Christmas Story sequel. They're just looking for like, let's just watch A Christmas Story again.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's got enough of a cult following and they keep the budget relatively low, they'll make some bank on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean
that's
that's how that industry is propped up. It's like they're cheap enough. Having been in one the pay is not great.
Look! I mean, look at how many like horror franchises have gone.
Oh yeah.
Into so many. I mean, we were talking about Hellraiser before, and fucking how many of them have just gone on and on.
Ad infinitum.
And on.
Because there is a market for it, however small, if it's dedicated enough, I guess.
Oh yeah.
It'll still turn a profit, however small.
Yeah. So why not?
But deepest,
bluest, seest too.
Is there I don't know, is there even a inkling that it could potentially be anything other than a very, very budget retread of the first.
It looks exactly
If
like
LL
a remake
Cool
of
J-
the
Like, there's
yeah.
literally nothing.
If they go
apart
left
from...
field and LA Cool J plays a ghost version of his character Preacher, and
Was that the
sings-
character's name? I
That was his
forgot.
nickname.
I
No,
forgot.
they called it Preacher.
And if he sings deepest, bluest, even deeper, even bluer,
Even deeper.
and now I
even
got
bluer.
shoes with shark fins on them. Look at my shoes. You can see them.
I mean,
something.
if in the trailer there was, if that song was playing,
Yeah.
or if LL Cool J made a kind of appearance, not as the same character, but as the kind of like wizened kind of old
Yeah.
veteran of like, I was a shark wrangler.
He's the
once."
Quint.
Yeah,
of
to be
Deep
the
Blue
Quint.
Sea.
I would be into it. Talking about, yeah,
No,
yeah, and it's like his fin, the bluest, deepest fin, like my hat.
Ving Rhames was in the remake of that Piranha,
Was it?
titled Piranha 3D.
Was it?
And he comes back in the second one.
Oh, that's
with
not.
no
Is that
legs.
3 double D? 3
Yeah.
The
double
second
D.
one was
Yeah.
3 double D, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one was 3D, the second one was 3 double D.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes back and he's in a wheelchair, but he's got guns in his
Guns
stumps.
legs. That's like the what's
Planet Terror.
it? Planet Terror.
I like Planet Terror quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good few ways that I can think of to make Deep Blue Sea pretty great now that I think about it. But I don't know.
I don't think this movie is any of them.
The shark should have a rap break. No, the shark should transform back into LL Cool J.
Yeah.
And it's actually a sequel to Deepest, Bluest, bracket shark fin,
Yeah.
bracket. It's a sequel to the song that accompanies
As
it.
per the music video for that song, LL Cool J is in fact
Half-man.
a shape-shifting half-man, half-shark hybrid. He's, in fact... I mean, I'm not the how guy. I'm just the ideas guy. You know, you make it happen, Hollywood.
Oh, God.
Leave it to us.
please.
We've got a Squirrel Girl movie in development.
Yeah, you
we'll,
can-
we'll
yeah.
see what we can
We'll,
do.
we'll put in a good word for you.
If you wouldn't mind, with, I don't know,
Whoever owns Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
Well, it's sci-fi, apparently.
well, yeah.
Fucking hell. Let's talk before we get started on the mountain of emails. Let's talk briefly about a really good movie that you and I saw this week, Christopher.
Theatre of Blood starring Vincent Price.
No, not Theatre of Blood starring Vincent Price.
I did see that this week, though. It was very good.
Let's talk about Disney Pixar's Coco.
Yay! Which doesn't feature Arthur Lowe having his
It
head
does
cut off.
not feature Arthur Lowe, head or unheaded.
You've not lived till you've seen Vincent Price cut off Captain Mannering's head. Okay, so
Where did you see Theatre of Blood? Because I really want to see it now.
it's on DVD and you're totally taking it home.
Oh, fuck me.
so-
I've still not watched My Name is Bruce yet. Give me a chance.
Oh, is that what? I was trying to figure out
No,
what the
no,
DVD
I've got
was
it,
that was
I've
missing
got
on the
it, yeah,
shelf.
I've just not watched it
there
yet.
we go.
And
Oh,
Bubba
the
Hotep.
saga is at an end. Oh, alright, you'll get Theatre of Blood when I see Bubba Hotep.
And
back
I
in
get
my
them back,
clutches.
I'll take Theatre of Blood. Put it on
He
the...
plays an aged Elvis fighting a mummy in a retirement
on the
home. How have
library
you not
card.
watched it
I'm
yet?
aware of Bubba Hotep, I've not seen it. Anyway, we're talking about Coco, which does have skeletons in it.
Hey?
So,
Hey?
it's kind of
Hey?
tangentially related to
How
a
dare you
movie
be
about
disrespectful.
old
It's the
Elvis
dead.
fighting a mummy. I don't know, fucking, it's got to be better than the mummy. Coco.
Take that back. Let's
Tell
see.
us what Coco's about, Chris.
Alright, you're gonna best of the worst it to me, are you?
Yeah.
Surprise summary.
Tell
Okay.
us what Coco is all about.
What's the main character called?
Miguel.
Is it not Coco?
Miguel?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Miguel?
Miguel.
I didn't begin with an M.
Miguel Rivera.
Little Miguel grew up in a family who are shoemakers and shoe repairers who hate music because his great-great-grandmother was walked out on by her husband who pursued his dream of playing for the world and left her and a child alone. So the music's been banned in the family, and he's not allowed anywhere near Mariachi Square, where music's regularly played. He's not allowed to talk to any musicians, but secretly he harbours a shrine in the roof of their family, sort of. It's like a farmhouse, isn't it? But it's not a farm, it's where they make shoes. He's got like a little hideaway where he looks at the music specifically of, what is the guy called?
Ernesto de la Cruz.
That's it, Ernesto de la Cruz.
Very good, very good.
Biggest chin.
Who's
Just
like,
the
okay.
biggest
who's
chin.
like,
Great character.
like basically if Elvis were a mariachi singer,
Yeah,
essentially.
basically.
Like, it's that sort of,
I'm
like,
into it.
he's sort of from the 20s, 30s, he was a star of film.
Crooner, did
stage.
films,
Yeah, and it's one of the best
Like
songs
Pencil
ever.
Thin Moustache. Is that one of them?
Yeah,
Pencil thin
yeah.
moustache,
I'll
big
find a
broad
picture of him
Buzz
for you.
Lightyear-esque physique, smooth as frickin' silk. whose motto was "Seize your moment." And yeah, it gets to the point where so far so up. It gets to the point where what's his name?
Miguel.
Miguel. I keep forgetting. It's really annoying. Where Miguel is like, "Sod it, I'm going to play. Like I'm going to play," and it's on the day of Day of the Dead.
Yeah, Dios los Muertos.
And do that again when we're alone. And he goes to play, but he has no guitar, so he breaks into
the De La Cruz.
You are better with names than me. De La Cruz's like sort of
tomb?
shrine, his tomb,
where
his
his guitar
graveyard.
is.
And he takes the guitar.
But why does he take the guitar?
He takes the guitar because his own is destroyed by his
But
grandmother.
why does he know to take that guitar? Why does he feel it's okay to take that
Because
guitar?
you seize your moment. Because he sees it.
No.
Go on.
Because he gets grumpy and all the pictures are up on the Sofrenza, is it called?
Yes.
Basically, so the families as part of the Los Muertos, they
You
put
put
out
Pictures of your family who've departed.
Well, he passed away, yeah.
so they can come and visit when two worlds are together. And on the top one is the picture of his great grandmother Coco, who's now clearly in some stage of Alzheimer's.
She's in a wheelchair. She doesn't speak
wheel-chair-bound,
very much. She's
more or
forgetting
less,
things. Her mother, so his great grandmother.
Mama Imelda.
Yeah. Oh no, it's his great grandmother.
His great-great-grandmother.
Coco's his great grandmother.
Coco's
Yeah.
great grandmother.
And
She's still alive.
and that's the Coco of the title,
Yes.
by the way. Because I was wondering when I went in, like, why is it called Coco?
And then just this ripped off corner.
where the
man's
face
head
has been
once
torn.
was. And then he breaks the frame and he opens the picture out and he sees that the guitar that the man is
De La
holding
Cruz,
is De La Cruz
yeah.
guitar.
So his great-great-grandfather is, in fact,
And now he's
Mexican
like,
Buzz Lightyear.
and
So
now-
he believes.
And now he's like, oh my god,
This is
this
an
is
heirloom.
why music is in my veins.
So it's okay for me to take it. Like, he'd want me to do this.
Sure.
But,
Mine by rights.
but by stealing from the dead, he places a curse on himself. And he's whisked away to the land of the dead. And he meets
Whisked away is like the weirdest description of it because
Yeah.
it's so sudden and subtle. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Because it's just like some people are knocking on, like trying to look for someone's broken in, someone's stolen the guitar, and they're looking around, and a guy comes in with a lamp, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I was trying to," and the guy walks right through him, and suddenly he notices that there are other people in the graveyard who can see him, and these people have particularly bony faces and are covered in patterns and
very good.
are picking up the gifts that their family have left them at the graveside, and you're like, oh shit.
Mhm.
So, welcome
It's
to the land of the
very
dead. And some of his family find him and try to get him home. But it's not as easy as that, because they want to send him home on the condition that he does not play any more music. So he decides, well, there's only an ancestor of mine who will allow me to play, who will send me back and allow me to play. So he goes to find De La Cruz. And along the way, he meets Hector, who's a skeleton who's being forgotten in the land of the living.
Yeah, the idea
No one's
is
got a
that
picture of him, so he's not allowed to go over.
you remain in this afterlife until no one on earth remembers you.
And then you pass
And
over
then you pass
into the final death.
again.
Okay, so
It's what they
they're
call the final
essentially
death.
stuck in a kind of purgatory.
It's kind of a limbo.
Imagine if Beetlejuice wasn't grimy, but had
Yeah.
like that system of how it's run.
Yeah,
But was
there is
more-
like a bureaucracy
But was
to
more
it,
like the land of the dead in Corpse Bride, where it's like the most fun, exciting place
Yeah.
to be.
Right.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and, the design is gorgeous. And again, like Corpse Bride, like it's very rich in colour. Corpse Bride did a thing where the land of the living was grey and dull, and the land of the dead was vibrant and exciting. In this, everything is colourful,
Because
but
it's Pixar.
there is a distinct shift
Yeah.
of like the autumnal colours and the dark blues and the candlelight
I
oranges,
really
switching
do like the
into
sound
the
of this.
Yeah.
switching into the neon greens and blues
And
and,
is it-
weird
and the-
brickwork
you know,
and
the sort of-
everything. Skull aesthetic is in
Yeah,
every
the sugar
design.
skull sort of design and
Yeah.
the neon is fucking everywhere. It's
Oh, wow.
gorgeous.
Like, even
gorgeous
in
looking
non-obvious places as well as the
Yeah.
skull motif. It's beautiful, but it's
beautiful.
so he teams up with Hector, and Hector's like, he believes Hector can get him in to see De La Cruz, because on every Day of the Dead before sunrise, De La Cruz puts on like a big celebration.
Right.
So Miguel has to get back to the land of the living before sunrise, or he'll be trapped there.
If he stays there too long, he will die.
Yes.
He can go back. he just needs the blessing of a family member, but only Dela Cruz will give him the blessing to go back and still
He believes.
be music. And it's
adventures.
Yeah, it's
Things
great.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I really do want to see
fun.
There's
this.
a Back to the Future sort of vibe going on through it because the longer he's there, the more his skin becomes
Fading.
translucent. So it's like
He
he's
becomes
still
more
there.
skeletal.
You can see the outline of his hands, but you can see completely through them to just the bone.
It's
And
really
nice.
it's
really
really cool.
And
because he's got face paint on for a big chunk of it, disguised, then you can kind of see that shape as the film goes on underneath his skin.
That's very clever.
and don't wear mascara, because if you're anything like me, you will be in bits by the end of this film.
Right.
Like, it is.
You wear mascara, and that was a bad decision
yeah,
today. Yeah,
no, it's just. It's a look.
It's
It's a look.
That's cool.
Nice size pop.
Yeah. Like, explode.
Oh.
I'm allergic. It's just terrible.
Might be my favourite Pixar animal character ever.
Oh, Dante.
Yeah, Dante.
Yeah.
Which was named after the horse. I realised that later.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
a clip from
Stayed
one of
No. After
one of the
Circles of Hell.
No, because we thought no, maybe it's that. But then in one of the clips, one of the film clips at the party later,
Miguel
being
has this
played of
ugly, hairless,
Dela Cruz.
stupid dog.
That's got a tongue,
Oh,
a tongue
Dante.
slightly too long for its mouth.
I
Yeah.
know the kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whenever it rolls over, the tongue just sort of like flops round its muzzle.
Yeah, there's a lot of physical comedy of like just this enormous lolling tongue coming from this daft dog's mouth.
Nice.
But it's
Um,
a street dog, and he's just
yeah.
called it Dante. And then later on, you see one of the films with the horse riding sequence, and you hear him call the horse Dante.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god, he named the dog after the horse from the film!"
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is great.
It's great.
There's so many little details. There's a obviously we won't know if there is a Pixar cameo in their tradition of alluding to a future movie, but I think there is.
Yeah, we won't.
But I think it could be because Toy Story 4 is on the slate,
Yeah.
and look out for Buzz and Woody. And I think one of the aliens as well, actually.
Possibly.
But yeah.
So where would you say this rates in sort of in the Pixar?
It's definitely towards the higher end.
Yeah.
It's got
Oh,
that emotional
Kick.
punch, that just emotional gut punch that you get from
Toy Story 3 up, Inside Out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's
like,
in that.
yeah.
It's in that territory,
Right.
And in terms of quality as well. Like, I didn't really know what I was. It kind of slipped under my radar because, like I say,
me too.
They got it way earlier in the States. They got
Yeah.
it last year, and I wasn't sure if it had even come out here or if it had
Well,
been gone.
Yeah, we were a Disney household, and I
Um,
thought I'd missed it.
yeah.
I was really annoyed.
And I hadn't
But I
really
mentioned
seen
it
much
to Disney,
for it.
the store.
We're a Disney household here.
And
Okay.
I'd heard a couple of people being a bit down on it who hadn't seen it yet for it being very similar to Book of the Dead.
Book of Life.
Book of Life,
Book of
sorry.
Life, yeah.
Which is another animated film for a while back that goes on the Dias de los Muertos aesthetic.
Right.
And utilises mariachi music specifically
yeah.
in its themes and everything. God, the music in this.
The music's
Oh.
gorgeous. Absolutely.
Because what were you saying about on the soundtrack that having several different language?
Lucy was saying she's been listening to it on Apple.
Presumably
Music since
Spanish and
coming out.
English.
Yeah.
I'd expect.
Two separate versions of every track. Although there are a couple songs in the movie that merge the languages,
Yeah.
so I imagine those will be left intact. But
It's
yeah.
real. It's real.
So,
cool.
so you can get a sense of what it's
So
what it's about.
is it spoken in English or is it in
It is
Spanish?
spoken in English.
It's spoken English, but it does that nice thing where it, like, especially in the first third, it dips a toe very heavily into like
Yeah.
the Spanish speaking stuff.
There's lots of like Spanish slang words in there.
Also,
Well,
like-
not slang words, but like Spanish
some
terms.
characters in the first
Right.
third just flat out will say a full sentence in
Ay,
Spanish.
Dios mío,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
carry on in English.
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
stuff like that.
Okay, so
Just
not
to
quite
give it that
not
flavour.
quite Spanglish, but
No, I mean,
no.
like I said, there are a couple of characters who do like a full sentence or two in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like,
None of it's subtitled.
that's
So when
good.
it does appear, it's not. So it's even if you don't understand Spanish,
But
you
you'd
can
learn, you know
understand
from
what it's from
context.
context.
and
Yeah.
stuff,
It's the story. It's that beautiful storytelling thing that Pixar seems to have down pat, where they're like, "Look, we know how to tell you this.
It just builds a world
Just trust us
very
and come
nicely.
inside." Yeah,
Um,
I think that's the thing. It like Monsters Inc. It sort of is like, and Finding Nemo, not so much Cars because I don't really care for that one, but like it's this whole we're creating a world, albeit this time based on something that is a real celebration and a real belief.
But that's
and
certainly
we're going to pull you into it.
it's definitely in the upper echelons of Pixar.
I think most Pixar is though, isn't it? It's just it's just those few that the drop off is shallow, but it's like the
Oh yeah, but I'd put it in the top end of, particularly for that emotional gut punch it's got. I like to say, Up, Inside Out, Toy Story 3, and this are probably. I mean, The Incredibles, although it doesn't have that emotional. I mean, it kind of does though, because it has that wonderful moment on the plane where they're gonna get shot down, where they do get shot down, and it's just
and
it's
then
horrifying.
And then, like Bob's reaction to that and everything. Yeah,
it doesn't hit you in the same way that
The Incredibles has more of a sense of that the movie's objective is fun, and we're going to feel some stuff along the way. Whereas Coco, I think, is very much a story told from a place where they want you to feel everything that's happening, which I think Inside Out was obviously very much about. And Toy Story 3.
I need to see Inside Out.
Oh,
Very
rough.
good. For God knows why
I didn't see it at the cinema. I didn't see it till later.
It's been years now. What's my excuse? It'd be terrible.
It's such a gorgeous movie. And like, yeah, they do the stuff every now and again with fucking. They do another Cars, and they do another Cars, and they do another Cars.
Well, that's because that was John Lasseter's baby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, he seemed to be higher onto that than anybody else, and then it naturally lent itself quite well to doing really, really well with merchandise and things like that. So
Kids
then
fucking love
it ends up being a kind of self-perpetuating thing. But no one was asking for a Cars trilogy.
No.
Like that was I hate to spot. Actually, I love to speculate. Go fuck yourself.
That's what we do on this show. We do nothing
like
but
that.
speculate.
Yeah, I mean, had John Lasseter not been fighting for it as hard as he did, or had it not been such a huge passion project, that would not be a thing. And I think the general aggregate of Pixar quality would be higher as a result. I think it's taken a big dip just because those films just don't.
I mean, if you look at stuff that isn't Cars, that is at the lower end of Pixar's sort of output, you're talking
like Monsters University.
Yeah, Monsters University.
I mean, I enjoy that, but it's definitely at the bottom end. Good Dinosaur.
See, Good Dinosaur I haven't seen.
I haven't even seen that. I completely forgotten about.
Lou saw it. She said it was. She sort of said that same thing. It's like it's kind of like Brave, sort of.
But we're at this point now where
Bugs Life, like
Disney's regular output and Pixar's output are kind of homogenous in terms of quality. Like, it used to be very much a divide.
Yeah, like Pixar
this is the
was
Disney stuff,
the good
and then
one.
Pixar's great stuff. And now it's much more fluid. Like, Moana was incredible. Big Hero 6 was excellent. Wreck-It Ralph was excellent.
Frozen
is great.
Oh, I mean, do you take away the fact that it has a very irritating kind of, like, it's everywhere.
It's the Cars of Disney.
Yeah. And, like, the fact that like, you take that away from it.
Cars, though, it's a great film.
Yeah. And it's
like, Cars is okay.
It's animated Broadway is basically what Frozen is.
Yeah.
I thought it was
the safest way that Idina Menzel can now do Broadway.
Well, quite.
Yeah.
What, does she like break stuff?
She's
destroyed
her throat.
She's
Julie Andrews.
Was it her second run on Wicked?
Probably.
She basically kept belting. She didn't mix, and she didn't take warnings and try different stuff. That's why she's doing more. That's why she's doing more personal tours and stuff now, because she can do it completely on her terms.
Yeah, she can't. She can't. Her voice isn't up to a full Broadway run anymore. I mean, she's fair enough. I mean, she's
which fair play, but it was the fact that
40s?
it was the fact that it was self-inflicted.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
it's her passion.
It always is.
It was only her body that held her back.
But yeah, Coco is great.
How great is it?
Is great. It's totally great.
There we go.
Great movie.
Go see it.
Everyone, take a shot.
Go see Coco. It's a lot of fun, and you will be in floods of tears at the end. And if you're not in floods of tears at the end, then you don't have a heart.
No, you have sold me. You have thoroughly sold me. I will see Coco.
Check it out.
And I also will see Big Hero 6 and Moana.
Have you not seen Big Hero 6?
No.
You not seen Moana?
She's really good.
Make way!
Oh, Moana's so good.
It's so good.
That's
Inside Out.
Moana is the first movie that made me cry in the cinema, because I've sort of reached that point. I've reached that point. I've gone past my mid-20s. I've reached that point where I seem to be. I mean, forget the spectrum stuff. Like, I've started to actually emotionally connect a bit more with things in a way where I've experienced more in the world, so I'm now feeling it a bit more and things like that.
Yeah, interesting that because
Moana did it, and then today it happened again.
This
might.
I don't know. I'm sure that this is some sort of like mental thing of mine, but I've always found it easier to cry at the cinema than I have.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got other things going on in my bed, so that's like.
No. Because just in terms of like something sad can happen to me, and I wouldn't cry. But if something sad happens to a dog in a film, like that's me going.
Oh, you really shouldn't watch A Dog's Purpose then.
I'm probably not watch A Dog's Purpose.
Well, I think you'll mostly weep for the fact
that stuff only happened behind the scenes.
Effort was spent making those movies.
Now,
Into the river.
That's on Amazon Prime already.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, they've got to put it. They've got to make money from it somewhere and sell it to Amazon Prime.
right,
Yeah.
Fuck that
Well,
shit.
from the totally great to the possibly grating, it's time for your email.
Hey!
Very.
This week's email read sponsored by Chris. Isn't really this mean, I promise.
All right, let's dive into these motherfucking emails. First one comes in from Dan.
Can I read Dan's? That looks short.
Yes. There's two of them.
Oh.
They're both rather
I
short.
retract this.
They're both rather short. So
Okay.
there's that one, and then there's that one, which is a little addendum.
Okay.
So there you go. You can read those.
Okay.
This is by Charlie.
Hello, boys.
Hey, hello.
Just a quick one from me.
Oh.
Firstly, in your previous
Why?
podcast, I think you got the impression from me that I was of CBBC age, which naturally you don't want listening, but fear not. I actually turn 20 next month, so it's all
Yay!
good.
I
Thank
don't
God.
remember getting that. I don't remember. That.
I can't remember what the quip was exactly, Dan, but I think it's because we were talking about like some kids' TV stuff, and I was like, I really hope you was.
But turning 20 next month, so you would have been. No, wait.
Yeah, you could have been.
Could have been.
I started on CBBC in 2010.
Yeah, no, I think what we were saying
So-
was that he was of CBC age when Chris was still a regular presenter,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which he would have been.
Yeah.
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 Sure.
Which is yeah.
12-year-olds are the target audience of that channel.
Right.
Even though they
So-
may think they're too cool.
Not that you're CBBC age now. We
Oh,
definitely don't
no.
want that, like,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not his judge.
Yeah.
You're 20.
I mean, if you're watching all over the place, I'm
You
not going
might-
to judge you. Fine program.
Still on iPlayer to this to this day, or forever, however long stuff is
However
on
long
iPlayer.
it is.
Yeah.
Actually, how long is it on? For?
At
I think
least
there's
30
another 8.
days.
I think there's another 9 episodes
Can't
to
remember,
go
I need
this
to get around to
series.
watching Hard Sun. Anyway,
All right. He continues. As for the meetup of old presenters as a show you mentioned, I also saw it on your Twitter, and I'd be very interested, but I couldn't go because my money is being drained by drama school auditions.
yeah,
Oh,
it is,
God.
mate. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it was 40-something quid a pop when we did
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I can only imagine it's increased since then.
and then plus travel and accommodation and
And
Megabus is your friend, Dan.
hey,
yeah.
I fucking wait till you actually get in it.
yeah, get to drama school.
Jesus.
Yeah, you'll think these auditions are an absolute... They're
They're saving.
yeah, save it.
Oh man,
Anyway, I continue.
please do.
Speaking of which, that's the main point of this email.
Oh,
So-
crackle,
how fortuitous that you were here, Charles.
I'm auditioning for drama school currently.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, since we're all three, actors, what your backgrounds were. When you got into it, where you trained, and perhaps most interestingly, well, depends, your experiences once you left.
Oh,
Of
that
course.
will be interesting.
It seems a very difficult industry, and I thought it sat... Good God.
You alright there?
Good.
Do some spell checking, Dan! And perhaps most
Charlie's had something to drink.
Of course, it seems a very difficult industry,
Jesus.
and I thought it would be interesting to hear a different perspective to the usual Hollywood A-listers you always see asked these questions.
Okay.
Oh.
I see where you're coming from.
Hurrah, chaps!
I see where you're coming from, Dan.
That's a real world experience from real lads on the real world.
Let's get that
Oh, the
addendum
addendum.
one as well before we get into that.
So, a quick add-on to the previous email.
Giggity.
I really should have said sooner, but it kept slipping my mind since my emails were already so long, but I'll say it now. Hope you had the most fabby-tastic birthdays, Matt.
More like full Abbey
You may be aging, but you're doing so like a fine wine.
Oh!
And also, congratulations on getting married this year, Chris.
Oh yeah, I think we let that slip last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
The week before. Yeah.
I hope you and Lucy and everyone have the best of days.
Ah.
Right. I promise that's it from me until next week. Tatty bye.
Righty ho, tatty bye,
I
Dan.
do
Thanks for your
appreciate
email.
tatty bye.
Let's
I appreciate
talk.
the toast-esque delivery of that.
There's some toasty phrases in there.
Toasty phrases.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Dan. That's very sweet.
Let's talk about our backgrounds.
Go on.
Well,
Well,
at the
how
moment,
we-
it's a giant window.
Looking out onto a brick wall.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by plastic figurines. And
I've got a polystyrene head behind me.
no, I do empathise with Dan because I've
Yeah, no,
found
I
this
get it, man.
really, really interesting because it's it is a mental way to make a living, and it does kind of attract, all sorts of different people from all sorts of different places. And I've always found it interesting how people ended up there, because you come from all these different places, and you all end up in kind of on the same project and stuff. So that's always interesting. I had absolutely no aspirations to go into this line of work when I was a kid. Like, I wasn't a very stagey kid. I didn't really have any interest in the performing arts. I didn't come from a theatre town. And it was only because I did a lot of sport when I was at school, and it was only after I hurt myself quite badly that I needed something to do with my Sundays, and a friend of mine suggested that I joined the local amateur dramatic society, of which there was sort of bereft of men at the time, and probably always they generally are.
Yeah.
And so, would you mind joining them? Just put on these costumes, stand in the back, do your best to mouth along with the songs, and that's more or less it. And I just found that kind of just filling stage space such a rewarding experience. Weirdly enough, it's such a show, aim low and you're never disappointed. I found that to be such a fulfilling experience that I just ended up kind of going back and back and back throughout my A levels. This was how late I kind of did this. It was sort of 17, 18. Through my A levels, kind of getting parts and getting speaking parts and being given a solo and all that sort of stuff, until it got to the point where it was like, well, what are you going to do now? You're coming to the end of the A levels. I enjoy the Amdram thing. Maybe I'll give drama school a go, just kind of on a whim. And it sounds like a ridiculous thing to say now, because given that it's such a industry fraught with uncertainty. So I started off so uncertain. Seems mental, but that was kind of what it was I'm enjoying it now. I hopefully I'll continue, and that's kind of just gone on from there. But and here I am.
Yeah.
Took the dive.
Matthew, Chris, what's your background?
My background. I got into music first. Like, when I was a teenager, I really got into music and started playing guitar, and then started trying to get various bands together and failing spectacularly. And then that led into, like, learning how to sing properly, and then that led into doing, like, production stuff at high school, like, and being in a couple of musicals there. And then that was kind of like, oh, because at high school I was always that kid who was kind of good at everything. Like, I was pretty good in all my subjects, so in terms of, like, what I should specialise in as I got older, there was no sort of clear-cut, what do I actually go on to do? Apart from sport, I was terrible at sport. And then, so when it time to do GCSE stuff, I was like, okay, well, we'll go down the performance route and do music and drama, and we'll sing, and we'll do... And I just enjoyed performing, and then I went to college and did some bits there, and then sort of had a bit of I bounced in and out of college for a few years, and it was kind of directionless, and didn't really get my shit together until I was like 20? I think I was 20. And then it went back to college properly. Was like, all right, I'm going to go back to college, do performance, get into drama school, go. So did another couple of years at college, got into drama school, went to drama school, did drama school. Me and Charlie went to drama school today. We were both.
Yeah, we were in the same year, lived together.
And then came out and did a little bit of work here and there, and you face the sad reality that a lot of actors face. Like you say, it's a fucking tough industry, particularly if you're from a working class background. You're living away in a different city, and you're having to hold down jobs to support yourself, and the work's not coming in, and you don't really know how to put yourself out there in a way that's meaningful. And it's, it's tricky. There's definitely a downturn. And I think I was coming on the cusp of the start of that downturn, because it was like a few years after the economy crashed, and it was just around the time they were looking at raising tuition fees and stuff. That happened while we were at drama school, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it did,
yeah. It's fucking hard, and it's just, it got to the point where I was working here and there, but not working enough to justify staying in London. I got lucky. I made some friends at BBC Radio Drama and got a fair bit of work there. But never kind of went anywhere from that, and the little bits of theatre I did, no one really came to see, so like it was never really going to lead to anything else. So I had to do that thing where I'm like, okay, I'm going to step back and move back home, reevaluate, and try and come at this from a different angle. And then a bunch of personal shit went down, and that's not been able. And part of that is doing this podcast and doing more YouTube stuff. Is coming at it from a different angle, which I think is probably a way to get into it now. So that's kind of been my background and approach to the whole thing. I would not discourage you from doing it, but I would say start doing your own stuff as early as you possibly can, Dan.
Because, because
whatever form that takes.
One, you'll find that it almost doesn't really matter how quote unquote successful you are. You have very little autonomy as far as the direction of your career is concerned.
And like zero control.
There are exceptions to the rule, but they are very, very few. And if you are lucky enough fortunate enough,
I think
to work,
looks okay.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I think luck plays a big part.
Then that you almost have no say in the direction in which that goes. You knows what you'll be doing, and if that's something that's important to you, that's definitely something to take into account. And like Matt said, if you are able to create in your own way, that also helps with those periods in which you are reliant on others, as in terms of the sort of stars aligning, in terms of getting acting work. So if you're in a position where you're able to create and express yourself in ways that you can control, that will be something that is important to you. And so if that is something you're able to do, that is something that is certainly worth pursuing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
There were more of a slight.
Oh yeah, it was like
the question. I forget.
Experiences once we left, where we trained.
Matt and I both went to the Arts Educational Schools in London.
Yes. It's in West London. It's a good school. It's very good for musical theatre. We were there at the time the curriculum was sort of changing to a more film and TV based.
Yeah, we were there in a very transitional period. It's a very different school to what it was when we were there, and I think from what I hear, for the better. It's got beautiful new equipment and theatres and all the rest of it.
But... And it's definitely a place to look at if you're interested in going to the more filmic side of things, which I always was.
Yeah,
and I think you probably were.
I was, yeah. But bear in mind, West London is expensive.
I mean, London in general is expensive. Like, it's annoying because in a sense, it's kind of where you need to be.
Yeah. Well, in the sort of BBC style way, the other drama schools are available.
Oh yeah.
There's Manchester Metropolitan University, which is a great drama department. There's
Arden Theatre School up here as well.
There's Alra North. There's Royal Scottish and Royal Welsh. There are
very good
options. Like, there are a whole bunch of different things that you need to take into account in terms of what is important to you, and cost and location are certainly two of them. And so there are things. Those are things we can't really prescribe to you. Those are things you kind of have to go in with a sense of already. Yeah. But at the sort of audition stage, it's worth kind of just sinking that time and money of 40 quid or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Into going, checking the place out, and even just using it as sort of a recon of seeing what this place is that you're potentially going to be spending all of your time and all of your money in. So making sure that it is right for you, it's worth maybe sinking a day and, a bit of cash in before you take a plunge. Because to be honest as well, you think of these auditions as a bit of a test, and to a point they are, but you're also going in to make sure that this place is right for you, because you're going to be spending a huge amount of time there, and it's going to cost you, or your family or your loved ones, whatever, a huge amount of cash, and so you want to make sure that it's right for you as well. So that's that. Yeah, I think that's all I can really offer, because, like I said, I don't want to prescribe.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, do what you feel, man, and just stick at it.
And then feel what you do.
Yeah, and don't worry about, like, just stick at it as long as you need to stick at it. Like it can take a long time sometimes.
That's why I said don't discount luck, because just based on my experiences in the industry, primarily television, but my experience is quite simply luck is a factor. Like you say, stars aligning. The important thing is to make sure that you are completely ready for when those moments arrive.
Yeah.
You have to, like Matt says, work at stuff, make things. Like, always, if you can create your platform, do it.
Yeah.
Because not only are you taking sort of charge of your destiny a bit, at least you're at least like simmering it until it's time to completely cook it properly and stoke the fires. Not only that, you are making sure that you still are warm. Like your engine is running.
Exactly. Like if you can write, write. If you can't write, watch. If you can't watch, like read. If you can't read, practice your accents. Practice something. Practice your movement.
Do
like,
something. Do anything.
There is absolutely. I mean, this and the time and all this other stuff is a huge factor. But there is really no reason why you can't be doing something to be readying yourself, either for drama school auditions or for your working life when it comes to it. So that no reason for you not to be
keep yourself
in these places.
Greased, mate. Keep yourself greased.
I hope that helps. Do let us know how you get on. I say us. I'm rarely here. Let them know how you get on, and I will listen to it through them when I listen to this later on. It's a big cycle. Never mind. All the best.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good.
You've got anything more to say on the topic, Chris?
Not to sort of say, boo to talking about drama school and study.
Yeah.
But if you do happen to feel that it's not right for you, it's not the end. Like we said, there are other avenues you could take.
Absolutely not compulsory.
It all depends on how you learn, how you feel. Myself personally, I wish I'd gone to drama school. Looking back, I think there are skills that I have lost and skills that I never had that I'd like to have expanded upon. And stuff I'd like to have tried with. But at the same time, the way my performing career went around that time in my life was very fortuitous, because even though I didn't go to drama school, I spent 5 years learning how to do live broadcast television.
I think
which is something I don't think I could have been taught to the extent that I did just doing it on the job.
It's difficult for me to say, but I don't think you would get anything out of going to drama school after having that experience that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain stuff I've learned.
It's a training of a different kind.
It's
just as valid.
Yeah, because I started performing, and then toward the end of high school, decided it was what I wanted to do, like the very end of high school.
Yeah.
Studied performing arts in college. Came time to apply for drama school auditions, and I didn't do it. And I kept asking myself, why am I not doing this? And I realised it's because I'm very practical. I like to make stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want to learn new skill sets, and I want to develop. But at the same time, Salford University at that time, had just expanded its television and film department, and was about to work closely with a place that was going to open within a few years called Media City. And it was like, okay, this is where I can learn to make things. And I was already making YouTube stuff back then, and I was like, I want to expand on this. But I can act in stuff. I want to learn how to make that stuff first and do this. And but that I did two months of that at Salford University. I'm going to name drop them. This is not reflective of how they are now, because it was my one experience and just me.
Yeah.
But I found that they were very, at that time in the course I did, specifically a couple of tutors, dismissive of encouraging practical learning, and they just weren't, for example, make a short film that's going to be 3 minutes long. The topic is you. Great. I've just checked the library. There's no equipment available. When do you need it all shot for? This time next week. Right, well, I checked. There's no equipment available for a fortnight. Well, I have my own stuff. Could I use my own stuff? No, I need you to use our stuff, because I've got to talk you through it. Right, but I don't have access to your stuff until the fortnight after. What are we going to do next week? We'll edit the footage. I'm like, but what are we going to... And I just left on the Monday and didn't come back till... I left at the end of the week and was like, I'm skiving. I've never skived ever. What's going on?
Yeah.
Why am I skiving? And I was like, it's because I'm miserable. What's happening? And the next week I started going, right, I'm not going in today either. I'm going to have a think about this. What do I want to do? Do I want to go back and try it again? Do I want to leave? By the end of that week, I'd written there's a fan film project I've been tossing around.
Yeah,
for a
I
bit.
remember this. Yeah,
I ended up writing 3 bloody 25-minute episodes of this fan film thing. Got a job with a DVD production company in Salford, which is the guys who filmed the stuff at Pendleton.
yeah.
Filmed a couple of shows for them. And by the following Friday, had got an email about audition for CBBC presentation. So I was like, regardless of how this audition goes, I'm quite confident that I will find ways to create and learn and grow.
The way?
Yeah, it was like literally a week later. I was in Ormskirk for a Halloween party, visiting Lou, who was at Edge Hill at that point, and I was dressed as the Joker, and I'd already had 5 beers. I'm stood at a bus stop waiting to get the night bus further into Edge Hill, and this is like 8 p.m. and I receive a phone call from who would then 6 months later be my producer, asking, "We've seen your online content. We've got that sensibility. Yeah, well, they were like, we really like your sensibilities. We think you'd be good for this." And I was like, really? Even with the swearing? They were like, well, obviously not with the swearing. I was like, okay. She was like, are you familiar with Ed and Oucho and that sort of stuff? And I was like, the cactus, I love him! Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah. So it was that sort of stuff. Can you come down to Television Centre on Monday to have a screen test and have a play around and have a chat? And in my head, I was like, I've got
polystyrene head that you finger.
I've already got some debt because I've paid for part of the year of uni already, and I've got to try and get that money back, and I have no money yet. And I've not been paid for the DVD gig, and of course I went yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it was like I will find a way.
Yeah,
2 days to find a way.
Yeah.
I will do it. And yeah, so when I say like luck plays a factor, what I mean is like sometimes something like that'll happen.
Oh God, yeah. I mean,
I at that point, I think the tool I had in my belt wasn't necessarily my skills, but it was my knowledge of that industry, because I was aware of it. The reason why I got my call back was because I spoke to the puppet hacker like he was alive. When we improv'd a link, name drop programs that were actually on in a way that didn't sound like I'd just read them once and was loosely saying it. And it's because, like, with my younger brother, I paid attention. There's some shows that I watched, like the Sarah Jane Adventures and stuff like that. So, again, like, even if you don't go down the route of drama school, if you know where you'd like to go, like, read up, mean it when you talk about it, like, and again, I think that's it. Just keep the engine running.
What can I just add one last thing just before I forget, because this is something that I've noticed, particularly.
Please do.
People who've been in theatre companies that I've been involved with, is whatever your local theatre is, if it has a youth theatre program or a way that you can kind of backdoor your way into productions that they have, be it as a small speaking role or as a member of chorus and things like that, I've seen that put people in good stead.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're interested in going to drama school, say, for example, if it doesn't work out this time, get involved with your local theatre, try and get involved with their productions in whatever capacity you can, because being involved at sort of ground level and watching how those processes work from people who have been doing it for a long time, that is something that I've seen be helpful for others, and that's something I still find helpful to this day, having done it for 5-6 years. So yeah, that's another thing, is try and get involved in whatever you can as well.
Yeah, do whatever you can. Do as much as you can, as often as you can, whatever you can. Yeah, that's the one.
Guys, we've been way too serious and sincere. Someone make a fart joke, like noise or.
Actually, that could segue into my question that I did not email, but I brought it with my brain.
Okay.
Is that something that you would?
Yeah, go for it.
So let me get this one out of the way before we get on there.
Okay.
Fine. Remember the segue for when we eventually do it.
We got an email saying Luke's friend returns, and there's a bunch of stuff in it, but it ends with, should I become a regular character? So I'm not reading the email, I'm just going to say, no, you shouldn't.
No.
This is emails.
We don't pay residuals.
We're not doing bits.
We're not doing a bit. This is emails.
We are not going to start singing Happy Birthday to You in the voice of David Bowie. That is not how this podcast works.
So that's a fart joke that'll lead us into...
Hello, Luke's friend return.
As I mentioned to you both earlier, it may have been off mic, I forget.
Yeah, I'll type your question out.
I have not been keeping up with stuff that is new and current and fancy.
Oh,
I've been revisiting the past, going backwards,
like 1973's Theatre of Blood.
If only, Chris. It turns out,
I've got to see Theatre of Blood.
And I kind of ended up double billing a couple of films that I was really, really fond of as a child.
Yeah.
And one of which I'm almost certain you both have seen, and one of which I'm not sure if either of you even heard of.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, hit me.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah,
sure
with Dan Marino and Snowflake,
And Fern Gully, The Last Rainbow.
Oh, yeah, Fern Gully, The Last Rainbow.
You have heard of that, okay.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Fern Gully.
And going back to them, I was kind of overwhelmed by how quickly the rose-tinted glasses got smudged.
Oh,
and I saw them. I saw these films for what they were.
I saw like half of Ace Ventura a couple of years back and was like, "This has not aged."
Neither of those films have aged well at all.
Especially like the transphobic shit.
The transphobic
stuff. Real homophobic.
Fuck me.
Now, to be fair, when Ace reacts the way he does, they've not made him out to be a nice person. Like he's got a good heart, but he's not necessarily a good person.
That's a bit of a cop-out.
It's the way that every character reacts to it in exactly the same way, and the film makes that the punchline. I think that's what made me feel uncomfortable.
What my question is there anything,
Gully was a
films or otherwise, in your young lives that you have revisited, and the rose-tinted glasses have fallen off as fast as they did for me, and Fern Gully?
Fern Gully's a beautifully animated movie.
Fern Gully's not a beautifully animated movie. It is a bad movie.
Oh no, but I mean the animation. Although isn't Fern Gully the one that has the out of nowhere lizard song about
there's
somebody might as well be you.
Yes,
it's just like, why is that in here?
That's Fern Gully. There is also
why does this happen?
Tim Curry as Pollution, which is great.
Yes!
Which is great, and that's why.
Hello, I'm Pollution or something.
Slime to the left of me. What is it? Oh, you love my toxic love. Toxic love.
He was given so many terrible songs to sing in animated 90s projects.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Don't get me wrong. Tim Curry as Pollution. I can't remember. He does actually have a name. I've forgotten what it is now.
It's probably something like
Smokey Daniels.
Smirky Bill. Oh, Smirky Bill.
But is it?
His name is Hexus.
Hexus. So I'm curious. Is there anything that you can think of off the top of your heads that you've revisited and been disappointed by your own expectations of nostalgia? That was a long sentence.
It was beautiful, and I like long sentences that take physical exertion.
I'm not good at audio.
Yes!
Don't be daft.
Pray tell.
Recently, I have been revisiting the early 80s, the original run of Marvel's Transformers stuff.
It's the comic books.
Yeah. Which is I had a handful of them when I was a kid, and that was kind of part of what got me into, kept me in the franchise.
This is pre-animated series Transformers.
Concurrently with the animated series.
Concurrently, but mostly there to plug toys, obviously.
So what are we talking, like 84?
84.
Right.
84, 85. A lot of the UK-only material, so the way the original Transformers comics worked was, it was a 4-issue monthly series, originally a 4-issue limited series in the States that was expanded to a ongoing, that after issue 4 they were like, we'll just keep it around. It was so popular that eventually ran for 80 issues. In the UK, it was a weekly magazine. So they had to split the monthly material from the US comics into 4 issues of weekly magazine. So of course, even with splitting the strips, they had to bring their own material in to fill it out. Mm-hmm. The UK title was hugely popular. And so, to the point where the creative team from the UK title eventually went on to the US title for the end of the run and sort of saw that to its end. And the UK comic ran well into they both finished in 1990, but because it was a weekly comic, while the US monthly ran for 80 issues, the UK weekly ran for 300 odd. So it's an enormous amount of material. IDW have collected it all as the US series they've collected as classics, and then they've done the UK only material as Classics UK, which has also got history of the publication and interviews with all of them. The Classics UK volumes much nicer.
And all the Death's Head and Spider-Man stuff. And,
the Spider-Man stuff's in the US one. He appears in issue 3 of the US.
Yeah, Spidey's in
fucking
the
weird.
It's a
series,
marriage of
and
worlds
yeah,
I didn't know I wanted.
And his black
Well,
suit.
because G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that sort of toy-centric Marvel comic stuff was all originally in the Marvel Comics universe.
Sure it was.
And then later on they were like, actually, no, it's kind of...
So
I mean,
at what point are you revisiting?
Death's Head's in Transformers,
But
and then he's in the 7th Doctor comics.
Yeah.
Which means Doctor Who's also
But
technically in
the
this
UK
obscure
one.
Marvel universe.
Because
It's weird.
the UK comics industry was kind of...
Its own
like
beast.
that. Yeah. So you've done these nice collections of them, and I've been going back to them. The UK stuff holds up fairly well. Like, the art's really nice. Sometimes it's off-model, like they don't know whether they're drawing the animation model of the character or the toy, which are often vastly different.
Oh well, one of them's incredibly blocky and
one
static.
of them does not lend itself well to sort of action.
Excitement!
Yes.
Thrills!
And
Static
you know, of course,
monster
it's written aimed at kids, but the writing is still a bit more sophisticated in the UK one than it is in the US one, and consistent, and, you know, interesting.
Is it because it's like a smaller office of people being left alone to make it, basically?
Kind of, yeah. That's good. The US stuff is fucking awful. It's just dreck. Like, the art is rushed. Even though it was a monthly book, the art is rushed. The colouring's all over the place. Characters change colours and looks from panel to panel on the same page. There's no consistency. The writing is terrible. I mean, it's kind of...
I'm so confused. I thought you were saying the US one gets shipped here, it then gets divided up.
Oh, that's how it
started.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it started.
So how is
that's
it worse?
Because the US stuff was produced by a different team.
But then it's being shipped here.
Yeah. And it's fucking terrible. It's still...
But it's the same...
But different creative teams, because then the UK creative team makes their own material to fill in the gaps while they're waiting for the US stuff to come across.
Right, it's not filling in the gaps in the within the comic.
Not in the story.
It's literally they're making whole books
Between story arcs, there'd be a story arc that was
yeah.
But,
okay, I thought literally they were like, here's a story. We're going to divide that into 4. We need to then fill the gaps again.
Matt's just being racist.
And
you're just hating on the Americans.
What they would do, they would try and make these original stories slot in between the US stuff.
Okay.
But they kind of gave up.
Right. Okay. So the US one, bad,
fucking terrible. The UK one is still, you know, it's a comic aimed at kids about transforming toys, but it's a fucking good cut above the US stuff. The US stuff is absolute dreck. Like, just fucking awful.
bad.
It's really bad. That's the thing that mainly comes to mind. I've revisited the...
If that's the only thing, I'm good for you for having lived your life free of...
like, there's
free of this.
I've gone back to something like I've gone back to some episodes of X-Files and been like, this isn't as good as I remember. But then the show as a whole is still fairly good. And then they revived it for that 10th season, and that was fucking dreck apart from one episode.
Yeah.
Is there an 11th one?
It's on in the States at the moment.
Didn't Gillian
It's
Anderson piece out of it?
She's piecing out of it after the series.
Oh, okay.
Which it's been on the States already, but it's coming on over here on 5th February. It starts on Channel 5. So yeah, that's probably going to be.
It's never ever spoken to me, that series. I wish it did.
I mean, some of it has been like, that's still probably my favourite show of all time. Like, even ahead of Doctor Who.
You heard it here first. So
I'm sure I've said that before.
Stop sending your
Stop
damn
fucking
questions.
sending questions.
Send your X-Files questions.
Matt Watson, lifelong X-Files fan, reluctantly answers an X-Files question.
Because it's all on Amazon Prime now. The nicely retouched HD versions that have been remastered into widescreen and all that shit. I'm finding that a lot of those episodes, most of them hold up, and some of the ones I didn't like as when I was younger, I like more now. And
so if anything, this is the inverse of the question.
Then the odd episode has been like, oh god, that's fucking aged well. Either through like themes or just effects or just bad writing. But not like huge chunks of it, just the odd one here and there.
I wonder about some like have you ever seen? Is it the Crying Game? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I've not seen it.
I wonder if that's aged like really well or just horribly.
Probably horribly, considering they use it as a transphobic punchline in Ace Ventura.
Yeah,
it's probably not good.
But I wonder if it's Ace Ventura's fault. Crying Game's fault.
I'm just thinking of other stuff. on a slightly different note, not from nostalgia, but around Halloween, what I did was I got a bunch of movies that really freaked me out as a kid that I hadn't got around to watching since I was a grown-up.
Oh,
And
okay.
I watched them. So, like, all the Critters movies, which freaked me out when I was little, because little furry things.
Sure, they are grim looking.
Yeah, and I had never seen them, so I watched all those. The 88 remake of The Blob. The Frank Darabont wrote.
Yeah, which I've never seen, always wanted to
with-
watch. I've only ever seen
what's
it in
her name in
chunks.
it?
Shawnee Smith.
Shawnee Smith.
Yeah.
That's
where
great.
where like
It's really good.
they take
Yeah.
the idea of a gelatinous blob that devours humans, and it's like you'd probably be able to see that through the blob, wouldn't you? Okay,
So that was
and it's there's some
watching people being
someone's being
digested.
It's like
the
like
effects in it are fucking fabulous.
it's
I
like
don't know why I haven't
entombing
seen this.
someone.
It's great.
And they're reaching out
It's
to their
not-
friend, trying to grab their friend's hand. Their friend's like, they grab them, and you can see their face sort of peeling backwards. And they grab the hand,
Mate,
pull
Why
back.
does this not get more playtime?
They grab the hand, pull
It's
back.
really
and
hard
they've just
to
got the
find.
hand in their arm.
Is it?
I think it's
Yeah.
out of print.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember when I
not
first
easy to
Is
find.
it on
on
any
it.
digital service?
I first discovered it.
Not for streaming anyway.
I think I caught the end of it late night,
Yeah.
like 12 years ago.
Well,
I'm like,
I
oh
caught
my
the end-
god, that's horrifying.
I
want to see
caught
it.
a bit of it
and
when
I
I was
couldn't find
very
it.
little on TV, and that's what like fucking scarred me for life.
When they're in the
But
phone booth.
It's not like a quality thing, but it's like going back to something that I had this really strong idea about as a kid, and then coming back to it as an adult and going, oh, actually, I have a completely different feeling about this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm.
It's like Terminator was the scariest film
Yeah,
I've ever seen when I was a child.
But like I say, I think I've been fairly lucky in a lot of the things that I loved as a kid. I still kind of love now.
You had quite a solid cultural
Yeah.
upbringing, though. I would say, like you kind of
Even then, like but a lot of the stuff now that
whether by accident or not, despite your dad, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not because of him.
but a lot of the stuff that I've revisited as an adult that I recognise is not good, I still like.
Right.
Sometimes in spite of itself.
Yep.
But it's very rare that I'll come across something that I loved as a kid that I actually hate now.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And those US Transformers comics are the main thing that comes to mind.
Transformers!
Oh mate, that US
Chris.
stuff's garbage.
What has retroactively murdered your childhood upon reflection?
Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s. Don't you speak up in its
no,
defense.
I completely forgot about that.
Don't
You're so
you
right.
speak up in
It's
its defense.
fucking garbage.
Yeah, I remember we had a
bad.
chat about it not long ago, and you went, "It's not that bad."
The
surely."
X-Men one has
X-
aged pretty well.
X-Men's
X-Men
aged,
has-
X-Men's aged
As
well.
those series go, it's aged
And
fairly
that's
well.
taken some big arcs and done them really
Yeah.
well. I did Dark
Oh,
Phoenix.
yeah,
didn't
and
it?
X-Men
there's-
has aged phenomenally. Like, the animation hasn't aged well, but it's very much of its time, so
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, this is terrible. It's, okay, fair enough. And the Scottish/Irish accents are the worst ever put to film or
Oh,
television
fucking
ever.
hell, yeah, they're not good.
But-
The far and away level.
Spider-Man the animated series is, to coin a phrase from a handsome man, dreck.
It is
It's
fucking dreck,
fucking
mate.
awful. It's fast paced. Here's the thing: watch
I
an
have
episode of that,
such
and
fond
it's
memories
on
of it.
it's on Netflix, I think.
It was, I don't think it is anymore.
Okay, but if you can get hold of it, the one that's like.
Certainly a memorable theme song. It sounds like a ringtone.
Well,
doesn't it? Like an old
it's
school
they
ringtone.
took the '60s one and just turned it to this grungy like. Oh, look at these shots of Venom and the Hobgoblin.
It was
80s kids, aren't these cool?
It was
you like
definitely
these
the
things.
90s.
You like these things, don't you? 80s kids.
Definitely the 90s.
Who are too old to be watching this cartoon now.
Definitely
Do you like
the
them?
90s.
It was so strange, but it's
Oh,
like
mate.
watch it now. It's 22 minutes an episode, and it feels like they've tried to cram 45 minutes worth of content into 22 minutes just by changing the speed to like 3 or 4 times. It's nuts. Like, every scene Peter's talking like this. Vroom, Spider sense. Wait a second. King Peter. Smile with your spider slayer. Credits. It's
And
like,
you
what the hell have I just watched?
Punch anyone.
That's
Yeah.
that's the show. Where you
Can't punch anybody.
anyone, is it?
Also,
If guns
Blades in it.
If guns do appear, and the Punisher.
Also, the Punisher is in it.
If guns do appear,
They're
they
lasers.
are lasers, including the police.
Police
Sure.
have laser guns. Also,
That-
the Punisher is in there.
That thing I don't mind.
Need we remember that not 2-3 years before that kicked off, Batman the Animated Series began and has aged like a fucking fine wine.
Wait, what?
Batman
I
Animated Series-
I hadn't even connected those two as being
96, Batman the Animated Series.
They're like- they live in
Batman the
complete-
Animated Series started 92.
It's 92.
90, yeah, because it was
Fuck! They
shortly
live-
after Batman Returns hit cinemas. They did on American television The Cat and the Claw Parts 1 and 2 as an event. and then they started showing the
Because
episodes.
it was on prime time for a while, wasn't it?
In
It was
the
on
States,
like
yeah.
early evening.
Yeah, for the first like 5 or 6 weeks, they put it on early evening, and then they moved it to Saturday.
That
morning
has
after
aged
that.
really well. I hadn't even connected
Beautiful.
those
And
things.
that is on Amazon Prime.
96
and that's
was
really
when
good.
96 was when Batman, the Batman and New Adventures
Oh,
of
the
Batman
new-
and Robin
oh,
started,
okay,
which is
yeah,
the
yeah.
second half of it where it got
Yeah.
a revamp.
So I've
visually.
got the box sets of as much of it as I could.
Yeah, I think it's just
There's
it's like
more
it's
of
like
it on
seasons.
Amazon Prime.
Is it the red and the blue box set?
Yes.
Yeah, it's seasons like 1, 2, and about 5 episodes of season 3 are in there. It's really weird.
It's
All of
never
on
been
Amazon Prime
released
now.
full. Not all of it.
I'm
Some of
looking
it's
at
not
Amazon
streaming
Prime.
on Prime.
Really?
All it's on Amazon, but like you'll get the case of, like most of season 1 is on there, but like the last 10 episodes aren't.
Oh, don't bother me. I've got
And then
season 1 on
that's it.
DVD.
But like, yeah,
yeah, the
that's
States have had
the
it
way-
for complete release.
the way
Of
that
course
show.
Oh, I've got a
works.
multi-region thing. I can buy them.
Well,
We are
please,
getting one.
please let me know if it works, because Animaniacs is only available on DVD in the States and it's region locked.
Animaniacs is coming back.
I don't care, unless the original cast are involved and Spielberg's producing and it's got the exact same
Spielberg's not
sensibilities, then I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Animaniacs was a beautiful thing that has aged well. But
So-
Spider-Man the Animated Series is
Oh,
dreck.
nearly.
As is most of the Marvel 90s Fox Kids stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Hulk is not great.
Oh, none of that Marvel Action Hour
Oh.
stuff has aged
Iron
well.
Man!
Iron Man is bad.
Iron Man!
Fantastic Four's
With
bad.
all of his supporting cast, because you don't care about Iron Man! Because it's 1998 and you don't give a fuck about Iron Man!
No one
So
cares.
there's
about
Spider-Woman and War Machine! Oh, also Iron Man!
I'm
It's just
into
like,
this
oh.
theme song.
Oh, the theme songs were all just...
Avengers
They
United
were
They
just rock-
Stand.
Oh, that's
That was
awful!
fucking terrible.
What, West Coast Avengers, the animated series, basically?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, God, the first ever Avengers cartoon.
That
and it was
weird
just
Hawkeye
a
with his
Hawkeye
hairy
was like
bits
the
and
only
pieces.
star. Like, he was B-listers and C-listers.
Ant-Man?
I don't know if he was a main character. If you're going to watch an
Tiger?
Avengers show, go over there. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes,
That's
2
great.
seasons
Yeah.
before Disney bought Marvel. The one on the far right there. There's 6 box and then 2 more over here. That is amazing. I binge series 1 of that earlier
That's a
this
great
week.
show.
It's
I think we've watched the way out.
so good.
Oh, yes, we have seen
Yeah.
this.
It is so
this
good.
was
so
on.
well
This
cast.
was on one of the streaming things, wasn't it? At some point.
For a little bit.
That is the closest I think the 21st century has gotten to a Batman the Animated Series level of like involvement and and giving a shit about its characters. But the difference is that's serialized.
Yeah.
Young Justice is pretty good too. Damn it, I'm talking about stuff that turned out to be good.
Yeah.
Short
Spider-Man
one.
the Animated Series is great. Spectacular Spider-Man is miles better.
Short one from Tom Monty.
From who?
Like Tom.
Sponsored by Dear David.
Dear Chris and Matt, what's your favourite song at the moment and why? Tom
Favourite
Monty.
song at the moment?
Yeah.
Good question. Tom.
That's the shortest email
Oh, wow.
we've ever had.
That actually is.
Oh, I deleted the junk mail by mistake. Oh well.
That's alright.
I need to find it because it's not a pop song and it's not really a song I should like.
yeah.
but I like it.
In terms of recent music, there's nothing that's out at the minute that's really grabbed me. I've wanted to listen to Paloma Faith's new single because I quite like Paloma Faith, but I've not actually listened to it yet, so I can't say it's the act. I'll tell you what song I have been listening to an awful lot of lately.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to an awful lot of
Sorry, what?
The Ballad of Barry Allen by Jim's Big Ego.
Oh yeah.
Which is
Rings
a pretty
a bell.
great song. Yeah, it's basically it's a song about not having time to sort of slow down and confront life and meet people and you just keep moving on. Told through the prism of this is from the point of view of the Flash, and it's just like okay,
Sure.
Their song Stress is also excellent, which you might recognise as the end credits music to the Jimquisition. Which is
yes,
very
yes.
good. Addicted to stress, that's the way that I get things done. The pressure that makes me too long, and I hang around like a bug. That makes me nervous. Everybody's gonna be alright. Available on iTunes. Please buy it. Don't sue. It's got a great trumpet solo at the end. It just like peters out. really loudly.
after Thor Ragnarok, I've listened to the Immigrant Song.
Roughly
whole
12,000 times.
Like, not that I didn't love that song beforehand, but that did remind me of, oh yeah, this is great.
I sat down and learned all the parts for it. I learned it on
Nice.
drums, I learned it on bass, I learned it on guitar.
Very good. And there's also, this is one,
Well, that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, it is. I don't know when. I'm going to do it at some point.
This one, I mean, it does need explaining, but I'm not going to. It's part of the soundtrack of a Bollywood film called Bajirao Mastani, The Love Story of a Warrior, and it's only the one song of the soundtrack that I've heard. It's just, I stumbled into it, and I think it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's called Malhari, Malhari. And if you can find it on YouTube, it comes with one of the best dance routines I've ever seen.
Fantastic.
And if you can, please check it, because I need someone to be as obsessed with this as I am.
One more time, what's it called?
Malhari, so Malhari, from the film Bajirao Mastani. Hopefully one of those things on YouTube will pop it up. I need Tom Monty. Be the one that is obsessed with this with me. Be that guy. Come on, Tom.
You could be Charlie too.
It's real good. It's real. I have it here on my phone. I'm not going to play it because I want you to go out and find it, Tom.
Plus YouTube will probably.
Do you feel like you need the visuals?
I think the visuals are important. Once you've established the visuals in your head, you can, if you're anything like me, listen to this song more or less constantly. You may have it as your ringtone. I'm not here to judge. You do you, Tom Monty. Do whatever you want. In fact, don't listen to what I've said. Go do something else. I don't care.
I listen to a lot of music, so to pick a favourite song is kind of like hard.
It's like picking a child.
It is like picking a child.
Just randomly. That one. Serve it to me on toast.
Every time I've done that in the past, it's never ended well.
Oh.
Can I tell you a band that I used to really like, kind of still do, but I'm really, really embarrassed.
Please do.
To admit.
Go for it.
It's not really relevant to the question. I just feel like
It's emerging.
It
the
might
previous
spark
question.
discussion.
Sure, it might. Dragon Force. Do you remember them?
They're all right. Like
They're
they're
not
kind of
great.
one. They're kind of one note.
It's
They
one
were the
thing.
final.
Yeah.
It's
They were,
one thing they
It's
do.
one thing.
And
they were
every
the
so
final
often I
level
get
on
into
Guitar
it.
Hero 3.
Yeah.
So
It
you know.
sounds like video game music
It
that people are
kind of
doing with
is,
guitars,
yeah.
and I'm kind of into it.
I'm kind of into it. I will give you some songs I have been listening to a lot.
I need
recently.
a better thing than Dragon Force and fucking Bollywood. I need to check my Spotify.
I have been listening to a lot of Love You to Death by Typo Negative. A lot of Doomsday by Architects. Oomsday, the ultimate baby. A lot of oh man, what are all-time favourites? 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden, because we're actually at 2 minutes to midnight now on the old Doomsday clock. True.
Oh yeah, no,
Jesus.
oh yeah.
Doomsday Clock.
And
Where are we on the
Overkill
Doomsday Clock?
by Motorhead.
Yeah.
That's some songs that I've been listening to a lot at the moment.
Yeah. That's them songs.
I listen to a lot of songs. So
Find
that's
the
like,
Spotify playlist Walk Like a Badass. I heartily endorse everything in there.
Oh,
especially if you ask a Google Assistant to say it out loud, because Google Assistant automatically calls it badass, which made me
Also,
very proud.
Scott Snyder's made a Spotify playlist to accompany his DC Metal series,
Oh
which
shit!
is just
really?
full of
Nice.
metal songs.
So the Dark Knight's Metal has
Pretty
got a
fucking
metal
great.
playlist.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's pretty great.
Are you meant to listen while reading?
I guess so.
No,
but-
listen to it while staring at a picture of the Batman who
I mean,
laughs.
to be fair, so far, Dark Knight's Metal has been, as a series, in terms of visuals, has almost been as metal as Jason Aaron S. Adrivic's Thor God of Thunder. Every panel of which
How metal is
looks
that?
like a heavy metal cover.
Pretty metal.
Like, it's like a book of Manowar album covers. So, and Dark Knight's Metal is almost as metal as
You
that.
cannot kill the
So,
metal. The
It's
metal
pretty
will live
fucking metal.
on.
Metal. We have got one more email from Luke, but I'm not going to read it because it's mad long. And it starts off, read the subject live on the show. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing what you say, Luke. I'm not doing it.
Until next week.
Yeah, we'll get to it next week.
Let's open the
because-
show with an email.
Yeah, we'll
next
open
week.
the show with an email next week because we've run over 2 hours. And
It's
quite frankly, I'm tired.
I mean, pithiness is next to godliness. Luke, is that the phrase?
I'm not sure, but
brevity is the soul of wit, as we have so laboriously
I mean,
demonstrated.
Luke, you're a child of the internet, are you not? So you're aware of the acronym TLDR. Well, in this case, it's too long. Didn't read. Not, won't read, can't read, shan't read. Didn't, won't,
Didn't.
won't ever.
I'll read it next week.
Yeah, and I'll listen to it next week.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
I mean, you won't read it next week, but you'll listen to it probably.
Yeah, I guess.
You'll listen to anything
I mean, you could always
we
skip
say.
it. There's a fast forward button.
You'll listen to
Maybe.
anything we say. Ha, ha,
My
ha,
podcast
ha,
app
ha.
has a 10-second skip.
Mine is there, but I
Yeah.
never do it with yours. I like to hear all of
Well,
yours.
I only do it for ads
dulcet
that I
whiffles
don't
and
want to hear.
waffles.
I was even laughing, but now I'm
And
enjoying
I only do
the
it for
compliment.
ads because I'm like, I've heard.
Come
you do
buy
these ads, I'm
Lisa
like, I'm really
mattress.
frustrated.
It comes straight to your door in a
No.
box.
No, Justin McElroy, I don't want to hear you talk about me undies again.
But
I
Matt,
hear you do it every week on Bim Bam. I hear you do it every week on Sawbones.
But hey, Matt, do you need a website?
hey,
Squarespace.
Squarespace.
Build it.
excuse me.
Beautiful.
Excuse me, I accessed my Squarespace website through Wix whilst using the Dollar Shave Club in my Blue Apron. Now, if you don't mind, we're going to stick some Audible in our ears.
Harry's
and
razors.
You lot can sit on a Simba mattress. That's it from us this week.
Blue Apron.
Oh, God. If any of them would like to sponsor us, probably shouldn't. It's not in your best interest. If you'd like to get in touch, bigdamcontact@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter, BigDamCast. You can
Altered
find us,
Carbon on Netflix.
What? Just thoughts now.
Just things that I've heard sponsored on podcasts
new,
recently.
New Godzilla show on Netflix.
New Godzilla show on Netflix.
Some of this stuff is pretty
There's a new
good.
Godzilla
Maybe
show?
you should buy some of the stuff they advertise, guys. Like a Lisa mattress seems pretty comfy
Lisa
right now.
mattresses.
Do you not know the Simba ones have been put through the most rigorous of testing?
Is it a night with Charlie D?
Fuck,
Fuck.
we almost the outro. Oh, there it goes. Oh.